that show me subscribe.
Make no mistake, we're the only black people in y'all that only eat rat, eat cat people. You ain't black, you ain't that. Matter of fact, your black is repo, I'm taking it back. Cause y'all making it whack, faking jacks, y'all from the slave, raiding the tax. Bitch, we built the foundation, our innovations were groundbreaking. You ain't wanna get down, now you around, hating, faking, with the linear in and out, the ground shaking. Someone say, FBA, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say, Someone say, FBA, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say, mistake, we're the only black people and y'all the only eat rat, eat cat people. You ain't black, you ain't that. Matter of fact, your black is repo, I'm taking it back. Cause y'all making it whack, faking jacks, y'all from the slave, raiding the tax. Breaks, pause, we built the foundation, our innovations were groundbreaking. Y'all ain't wanna get down, now you around, hating, faking, wiggling and eating, now the ground shaking. Someone say, FBA, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say, Someone say, FBA, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say,
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton.
So the disrespect this little dog did, she compared illegals in America being hired, as what I pointed out last night, benefiting from our efforts, our activisms, set asides like affirmative action, DEI, DACA, housing, Section 8, all this stuff, and she compares all of that that's given to them freely to be comfortable in this country, how they're able to get housing and jobs faster than us because of their asylee and refugee statuses, right? So they're given everything, welfare, and she compares that to us going through chattel slavery. The disrespect. All right. Anyway, I find that video hilarious. I play it as a troll here and there. Let's get back to it.
And American, Melanin American. Let me get Melanin American in the building. Melanin American, what's happening?
Oh man, what's up, Tariq?
What's up,
all right, man. I know you're gonna roast me for this question, man, or not this question, but it's a slight criticism. On constructive criticism.
Hopefully it's based in fact. If it's sound like like it's not.
Well, you can educate me on this because I see a little problem with the terminology of foundational Black American.
How so?
Well, because number one, it's redundant because foundational Black American. Okay, so Blacks are the foundational Americans. We could just leave the Black part out.
No, what? Why do you have a problem with the word Black? There's nothing wrong with Black.
Because I feel like that's a term that was put on us as to put us in like a racial caste system and place us at the bottom. We went from Negro, which is a variant of Black. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that we embraced it and we turned it into something, but it's not a name that we originally called ourselves. That's my problem with that.
Well, the thing is, different circumstances, people call themselves different names. All ethnic groups based on circumstances, like certain Indians, Creek Indians, they didn't call themselves Creek Indians. That was a name that the Europeans came and saw as, okay, you guys live by the creek, you're Creek Indians. Well, the thing is, black, understand this, black is not just a color, that signifies a lineage and a struggle. You understand? Black is not just a color. It's not just a melanin. It's based on a lineage. You understand? It is based on resistance. We actually chose black because they were saying Negro and the N-word and colored and all of that. No. We're foundational Black Americans, not just foundational Americans. Because, yeah, people will try to co-opt that. They can try to remix that. Now, when you say foundational Black American, now you're being very, very specific. You understand? Yeah, blackness, the Black identity is legally and historically recognized throughout history. Blackness, that's been used to determine access, exclusion, exploitation from slavery, the 3/5 clause, Jim Crow, redlining, mass incarceration. They were doing that to Black people. They used the word black, and we're gonna let them know, okay, yes, we're still black and you still owe us. Now, I ain't about to make this shit vague. No. We're owed as Black folks, as foundational Black Americans. We're going to use the legal and social language used against us to get compensation, which includes Black. Yeah, we're removing Black, that disconnects foundational Black Americans from our unique cultural contributions. Hip hop, Black. Foundational Black Americans, jazz, foundational Black Americans, soul food, foundational Black Americans, hoodoo, foundational Black Americans, civil rights movement, foundational Black Americans. We're owning that. You understand? It's not just foundational, it's foundational Black American. See, we just say foundational American, that ignores the cultural, spiritual, and artistic genius that rose up out of Blackness. That's the thing that makes the shit so great. We did that when Blackness was being oppressed, and we still rose up and created all of these great things as Black people, as an oppressed group. That's what makes us goddamn superheroes to a damn certain degree. The Blackness, that's the thing, that's the key ingredient in the sauce. That's the key ingredient. That's what makes us so unique and so remarkable.
When people hear Black, though, when people come to America and they hear Black, they think people that come from chattel slavery, sharecropping, Jim Crow, redlining, Fair Housing Act, discrimination. And so American Blackness is distinctly different than everywhere else. How do you define it?
Now that the designation of foundational Black American has taken hold, that's a name that reflects the historic and political specificity of our lineage. That genie ain't going back in the bottle. Now other people try to embrace it. I'm Black too, my nigga. We're all Black. Nah, well.
Always open to the conversation, because one thing, being Black Brits, and we're both of Ghanaian West African heritage, but we're British-born Africans. Always open to the conversation, because one thing, being Black Brits, and we're both of Ghanaian West African heritage, but we're British-born Africans. We're British-born Africans.
Family, I know y'all didn't miss that. This woman she says she's from West Africa, Ghanaian. She's Brit-born, whatever that means, but she's African. Look at her face when she was forced to acknowledge that she's African, and she's directly from the continent. She's either she's a immigrant herself, or she said Brit-born. So her parents are actual immigrants in Britain. They came from Africa. So she know exactly what tribe she's from. She know the language, she know the culture, everything about Ghana. You dig? But look at her face when she had to admit that she's African. When she said African, look at the face.
We're British-born Africans. Because one thing, being Black Brits, and we're both of Ghanaian West African heritage, but we're British-born Africans. Always open to the conversation, because one thing, being Black Brits, and we're both of Ghanaian West African heritage, but we're British-born Africans.
Y'all didn't see that? Nobody hates Africa more than a goddamn African, yo. That one more time.
Black too, my nigga. We're all black. Nah, well,
Always open to the conversation because one thing, being Black Brits, and we're both of Ghanaian West African heritage, but we're British-born Africans. Always open to the conversation because one thing, being Black Brits, and we're both of Ghanaian West African heritage, but we're British-born Africans. We're British-born Africans.
I'm not black, nigga. I'm Jamaican. Remember back in the 90s? We would hear that all the time. They act like they weren't saying that. I used to hear that when I was single back in the club days. I would always hear these Caribbean and African women, black as hell. Oh, I'm not black, I'm Ethiopian. Oh, I'm not black, I'm Caribbean. Oh, I'm not black, I'm Trinidadian. They would always say that. They wore that shit as a badge of honor.
Let me say that again. I am not black, okay? Hear me out. Growing up, my mom absolutely hated when we refer to ourselves as black. She's like, you're not black, you're Nigerian, you're African. I feel like the term someone is black obviously comes from the slave era, but it also just describes displaced people that don't know their heritage. So I feel like people that do know their heritage, to try and curb racism in some way, people are going to be racist. Ignorance is ignorance. You can't. But just to curb racism in a small way, stop referring to yourself as black. You know, if you know where you're from, you're raised in a certain household. You know, Somalians are Somalians, Ethiopians are Ethiopians, Nigerians are Nigerians. Like, if you know where you're from, why refer to yourself as a color? I feel like when we say black, it just sounds so harsh and like.
She said when you say black, it sounds so harsh. She said her mom hated when they called themselves black. Well, she's not lying. They're not black. Peace to David Johnson. David Johnson, $5 super chat. He's in the super chat early, putting in work, right? FBAs made blackness cool worldwide in a world and a time of anti-blackness, right? We the ones for sure, the chosen ones. Thank you, bro. Thanks for the love. That's an actual fact. That's why we're gatekeeping. And after this goal, we're gonna run the FBA anthem back, where I made a song where we talking about how we built a foundation and we're the only blacks and repoing black. We're gatekeeping black. And that's where we at, man. But so what she's saying is true. Like, you're not black, but look at the hatred she has for black. And by the way, if she's from the same place as the other woman's from, pretty much. And so if she moved her ass to Nigeria, if she moved to UK, she would drop the Nigerian and call herself Black Brit. That's what they do. Like, they're quick to shed off their history and try to start a new life. Jenny Jones makeover. You're not a Black Brit. You're not a Black Irish person. You're not a Black Scotland person. You are of your homeland and whatever tribe. That's it. You're not a new identity, and you're damn sure ain't black when you come to America. You ain't black when you go to Brit. You ain't Britain. You ain't black when you go to Ireland. You ain't black when you go to Canada. You damn sure ain't black when you come to America. You are exactly where you left. Okay, you're not black. You are where you left. That is attached to you forever. When we travel and go abroad, and even move and migrate to other countries, we be in Japan heavy. We be in places in Africa like Ghana, Kenya, and guess what? We're black over there, and we're black in Japan, and we're black if we move to London. We're black there. Everywhere we go. The passport brothers, when they go to Brazil, they're black over there. We don't drop our blackness. We don't drop our ethnicity because we're in a new country. So we ain't gonna let them drop theirs either. You gotta hold your nuts wherever you go.
This is black. I'm brown. You know, I'm Nigerian at the end of the day. Like, that's who I am. That's where I come from. Let me say that again. I am not black. Okay. So I understand when you say black. So I understand when you say Black British or Black American, because you don't know where you're from. You're just a person of color in the city that you're in. Obviously, you still be treated the way you're treated, but just like, I feel like it just, when I hear someone refer to me as black, it just sounds so harsh, especially coming from a certain demographic. I think if you have the privilege of knowing where you're from, you shouldn't refer to yourself as a color, because it further, pushes the racism narrative. And
I am ADAS, American descendants of slaves. I am a Black American, and I am an American.
You know, let me know who you are. Foundational Somali, hop on. Foundational Somali, Mr. Foundational Somali, hop on, man. I just invited you. Hop on. If you got a question.
The people that's mostly all the people that's over here.
Yeah. Foundational Black American, just a Black American whose lineage goes to the beginning of this country. That's all the foundational Black American is. It is nothing else. There's nothing else classified as a foundational Black American. It's only people whose lineage goes to the founding of this country. That's it. And you've met them before.
So when you say founding of the country, you mean founding of the United States or founding of like just in general North America at the time?
The United States. We're talking about the United States.
Okay, so from the time United States was formed, the people that was here until now, basically.
Right. If you were here during the formation of the United States, that would be in the 1700s, 1800s. If you were here as a Black person, no matter how they came, when the formation of the United States was happening, and you were Black, you were part of the ethnogenesis. We became a whole new ethnic group during that formation. So that's what the argument is. Some people try to get into well, who are the Native Americans? Are you really Cherokee? I don't get, that's a bullshit argument. I don't even get into. That ain't got nothing. That the ethnogenesis is what we're talking about. We're talking about the ethnogenesis where you became Black. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it makes sense because there's a lot of people that claim, like you said, you don't get into it, but that claim Native American that I feel like got absorbed by the FBA people, and it's like it's a little weird because it's making the FBA like how do I put it? It's two different two different views, but they come together to make one. So it makes it look.
I don't know what being. This is not about views. This is not about an ideology. So somebody misinterpreting history, that has nothing to do with the fact that foundational Black American is a lineage that's documented. All right? Even if a handful of foundational Black Americans told you, well, I think we were the first Native Americans, or I feel like I'm a Native American, now whatever. Our lineage is still our lineage. All right. None of that stuff. Nobody's ideology deletes plantation archives, Freedmen Bureau records, the 1700 census pages. None of that stuff gets deleted. Our paperwork is still there. Our lineage is still there. All right. No matter what your ideology is, no matter what your views are, that's irrelevant. See, people try to get into these ideological arguments. If your lineage can be traced to the beginning of this country, you are by definition foundational. That's it. That's it. No matter what you can pretend you from Mars or whatever, but if your paperwork can trace back to a certain place, which is America, and you are Black, and your ancestors were Black, that makes you foundational. It's that simple, right?
The way, I don't know why they have never explained it to me this simple, bro.
Yeah. It's not rocket science, and it's been explained like this before, I think.
Okay, so Golden, see ya. You're not welcome to this channel no more. I took your wrench. You're timed out for 24 hours. When you come back, we're going to treat you like a tether. All right. And you're going to be an honorary tether when you come back. Get up out of here. This is called an intro. You know, intros are the same thing over and over and over. This is to buy time so family can come in and enjoy the live together. Why would I start the live too early? Then you miss it. But goodbye to you. But since we got people back in here, let's run the FBA anthem back. We built the foundation here.
That show me subscribe.
Make no mistake, we're the only Black people in y'all that only eat rat, eat cat. People, you ain't Black, you ain't that. Matter of fact, your Black is repo, I'm taking it back. Cause y'all making it whack, faking jacks, y'all from the slave, raiding the tax. Bitch. We built the foundation, our innovations were groundbreaking. You ain't wanna get down, now you're around, hating, faking. With the lineage in and out, the ground shaking. Someone say, FBI, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say, someone say, FBA, we don't run away, we stay, we slay, we pray, we say, make no mistake, we're the only black people and y'all the only eat rat, eat cat people. You ain't black, you ain't that. Matter of fact, yo, black is repo, I'm taking it back. Cause y'all making it whack, faking jacks, y'all from the slave, raiding the tax. Breaks, pause, pause. We built the foundation of innovations, we're groundbreaking. Y'all ain't wanna get down, now you're around, hating, faking, whittling and eating, now the ground shaking. Someone say, FBA, we don't run away, we stay, we slay, we pray, we say, someone say, FBA, we don't run away, we stay, we slay, we pray, we say,
by being in denial about a lot of stuff. So we got to understand the game out here. Shout out to everybody coming in the room right now, but we're in here heavy like we usually are. Shout out to everybody in the room. But we're talking about foundational Black Americans building America. I put up a tweet earlier and it went viral. It was just a real simple tweet because of Joy Reid. Joy Reid said a half-truth. She was talking about how Black people built the country, Black people built America, which is true, and Black people deserve reparations, which is true. But I think she started putting some we and us in there. No, let's bag it up now. Hold on. I think she might have thrown a we and us. And no, Joy. Joy is not from our lineage. She doesn't have the Majara spirit. She comes from Central Africa. That's where her lineage is. No disrespect. So we appreciate her speaking about the need for reparations, but we don't need you to start talking French, talking about we, and no, ain't no we now. No, we're talking about foundational Black Americans. So they kind of felt a certain way. The white supremacists felt a certain way about that. And I put up a tweet. I'm like, hey, shit, real simple. Foundational Black Americans built America. And some of the alt-lice got in the comments and they feel a certain way. Now, I know we have some of them in here. What's up, Nathaniel? I see you. Now, some of the people in the dominant society, some of you were in the tweets. Some of you were commenting. One thing you didn't do was refute what I said. I mean, the truth is the truth. I mean, the trolling and all of that just solidifies and verifies the truth in the statement. Nobody really refuted it. Is there anybody here from the dominant society who can refute that foundational Black Americans built America from the ground up, and every institution came out of the anti-Black labor exploitation that this country held? All of the institutions were born out of that exploitation of our Black labor. I mean, every institution. I would like for somebody to prove otherwise. We got to talk turkey here, and I want my foundational Black American family to understand your significance here. Because I don't want them running around talking about some damn cotton. It went way beyond cotton. We were doing way more than just the cotton. We were creating so many things within the slave system that we could not get credit for. For years, for decades, for centuries, we couldn't even get credit for the things that we were actually creating. That's why after slavery, we could finally legally get the credit for all the stuff that we created. And then, bam, we got 50,000 patents coming out of nowhere. It didn't come out of nowhere. We were already doing this stuff. Now, I would like for some people to prove otherwise. Tell me something else about history if that's not true. Nobody else built this country except foundational Black Americans. We built this thing from the ground up. We were the labor force. We were also the architects and the engineers, many of the scientists. We were the healers. Everybody got game from us. I want to hear otherwise. Since people felt a certain way and since the tweet went viral with a whole bunch of trolling and joking and playing, we'll bring some scholarship to it. Let's talk Turkey. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's get Dark Groper. All right. And as the saying goes, trolling proves me right. So Dark Groper, we got Dark Groper, and we got your buddy, the Sikh Groper. So let's get either one of you.
What's good, bro? I'm a huge fan.
What's up, Dark Groper? So you're one of them alt-right 4chan guys, I can tell with that name. Now, where you from, bro?
I'm from a city.
Okay. Why are you guys so ashamed of where you from, man?
No, I don't want you to come here and try to fight me, bro.
I'm not trying to fight you, but you're already defensive, being evasive about where you're from. And you sound Latino. Are you Latino?
No.
What's your family ethnic background?
White.
Okay, that's real vague. And you don't sound white. You don't sound Anglo. There are Latinos who are white, by the way.
What would Anglo sound like to you?
Not like you. I hear burrito on your voice.
Shout out to my boy Burrito.
There you go. So what's on your mind?
And family, a little later, I'm going to show you, well, some of you guys already know, but I'm going to show you guys why people who classify as white always say they're Anglo and they never really rep Southern or Eastern Europe. You're going to find out if you don't know already.
So I heard you say that Black people were healers. Do you mean that in like an Avatar, like the movie sense, like a healer like that, or like what is a Black healer?
Black people were the ones healing people from sicknesses. We were stopping plagues over here. They would go to us for herbal, medicinal elixirs to stop what was ailing them, and we were doing this all across the board. We are foundational Black Americans, sir.
What do you mean by foundational Black American? What about the Red Indians, the Native Americans? What about those people?
Yeah, they had nothing to do with the building of the United States.
They have no building. What are you trying to say?
They had nothing to do. Red natives had nothing to do with the building of the United States. That's what I said.
Who built the United States then? Who built
Black people, foundational Black Americans.
That's a lie. That's a big lie.
Who built it then? Who built it?
Before slavery, America was already built.
No, it wasn't.
It was already built.
It wasn't. Who built it? By who?
By the whiteys. They came in there, they stole the land from the Native Americans. They unalived 4 million Native Americans. They took the land of them because America has always been built by stealing from other people.
What white people built something before Black people?
The Europeans.
Hey, family, you got to understand their psyche in their country. So because we have a foundational history in this country, we have foundational ties, we actually laid the foundation to help build this nation to become great. We don't understand this type of hatred or ignorance because it could be either or, right? It could be hatred, it could be ignorance. But you got to understand how they view white people as opposed to us. See, a lot of us look at them like they're one of us. So we look at them from our perspective of how we see the world. But Africa's worldview is totally different from ours. We see white Americans or Europeans collectively as just people like us. Like they could take L's, they can get W's. They can take wins and losses. They can be involved and contribute to greatness, and they can contribute to bullshit. That's not how, because we know that because we kicked their ass and we outperformed them in many different ways. They never done that. You gotta understand, when the 84 Berlin Conference took place, and when Europeans went and started interacting with Africans for the first time, they pretty much brought value and money to these countries. They brought on rice. They healed the world basically. So they look at them as angelic beings. That's not what happened over here. Over here, don't forget, Africans were never enslaved. They were colonized, meaning that white folks went over there and did deals with them. Like they signed treaties, like they signed deals to give up resources and get back some type of small compensation. So white folks didn't go over there and just put their face in the mud and make them work. Nah, like they actually did deals with white people. We never done that. It was forced labor over here, and for the most part of the Caribbean, the diaspora period. So they look at white people as this invincible angelic being, like Superman. So they don't know what really happened over here, either through hatred or ignorance. So they can't believe that without us, white folks couldn't have done anything glorious in America. Like they can't really fathom that. So that's why like their first reaction is resentment and like, hell no, ain't no way you niggas contribute to this great country, the best country in the world, better than any country, better than Egypt, better than anything ever known of mankind. They can't fathom that we took part of that. Like we are 50-50 owners with this. And that's why Trump said this, to remind them, since white folks are their God, Trump said this.
American slaves.
African Americans built this nation. We built this nation. You're just starting to get real credit for that. Okay, I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to you built the nation. We all built it.
All right, so we're starting to get real credit from whom? It ain't Africans.
You were such a massive part of it.
See, that's the part they don't want to hear, that we were a massive part in building America to become this great superpower that the world fears. Okay. That's what isn't that's what's not being considered. Let me get my brother in here, George Macon. Hey, peace, George. Okay. That's what isn't. All right, let me know when you're ready. All right. George Macon is in the building.
Hey,
Yeah, what's up?
My only thing watch this, Ryan. My only thing I disagree with you on is the one part. Them stinking underarm bums know our accomplishments and who we are. They hate us. A lot of them hate us because of our pride, who we are, just our existence of being. They hate it. See, you gotta understand something. A lot of them are not stupid. Like they understand in their countries, they understand our history. They act like they don't know our history. But the mere fact that they've never accomplished nothing since the ancient times, and they see us doing things, they can never ever give us any type of credit because remember, they practice tribalism. They hate just our ability to be free and have our head up, despite not having our own land, our intact culture, our intact language. We made up our things on the fly based off of what we're going through, and they hate us for that. They hate us for it. I got in an argument one time with an African that alluded to something like that to me in an argument. We were going back and forth, and he said that he came here on the plane. We came here as cargo, right? He talking trash door. He was gonna get me upset. It ain't work. I said, yeah. I said, you hate me because we come from a surviving people that you can benefit from. What have you done to contribute to humanity? Nothing. So when they come here, they know our story. And then you gotta remember that in the last 30 years, the ones that's been coming here come from those elite families in Africa anyway.
Right. The hyper selected, right.
Yeah, that's educated. So when you hear that African dude talking like that, he's never ever going to give another black person because they don't have cultural integrity or cultural pride like they say that they do. They don't. So he's not going to come into another black person's house and show respect and give them respect. He can't wait to get some to smell some white cooch and put some deodorant on and be up under them. That's all it is. That's what they do. But they're not ignorant to who we are. Because and you know why? You know why, Ron? They can't be. They have when they come here into a foreign land, they know the white man racist, but they want to kiss his feet. So they study
Right.
how to cosplay as us and how to move around. So they study us, and then that's how they infiltrate.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because that always like made me like that kind of confused me. Like, is they that damn hateful of us, or are they just ignorant? So I really couldn't lean one way, but you might be right, man. Like the hate just might be that deep.
You know what, Ron? The ones and when I because we live on the East Coast, so you'll understand what I'm saying. I'm here in Philly. There's a lot of Africans that do come here that's sterile, right? Most of them are from when I was growing up, they was from Ghana or Liberia, because that's who was predominantly here.
Okay.
They was like, the ones that's like our age and older, they was sterile because when I was growing up, you didn't see Africans like the ones that lived here at that time. Because remember, it's only like 4.8 million Africans here.
Yeah,
Africans really didn't
total.
start coming here to after 2001,
Yeah,
right?
facts.
In large numbers. They came in about 1970 was only like 100,000 of them.
Yeah, very tiny.
Yeah, because I'm ready to do a live stream this week on the Immigration Act of '65 and how Africans started coming in through the 1980 Immigration Act, and then the year between 2001 and 2017 is when the majority of the Africans came in. But by that time, they was giving green cards to the people of the elite families and the educated that was educated by the Europeans. So when we were growing up as kids, a lot of Africans that was here, a lot of them was thorough, but they peeped the game. They stopped letting them come in. So now you get these kind of Africans, like that African that was just talking, that come in. So because like I said, when I was growing up, I had a lot of African friends that was from Ghana and Liberia. We didn't even have these type of conversations.
Yeah, I knew two. Yeah. Yeah, I only knew two growing up, but yeah, I don't remember this being a conversation right here, like were where they didn't acknowledge like our contributions, not just to the country but to the world, right? They pretty much accepted it.
Yeah, and I can see, I'm here in Philly, so this is the first Black Renaissance. We got Black people everywhere. It was a lot of it was more Jamaicans here, but
Yeah,
at my age, we all came up through Pan-Africanism at that time. So we didn't have these kind of like arguments. People acknowledged our accomplishments and people revered us. It's been a shift somewhere. It's been a shift inside the house, and that shift come from them these groups that's coming over now. Because like I said, when I was growing up here in Southwest and West Philly, wasn't nobody coming through with no white chicks or no white dudes and none of that kind of not in West Philly. Nah,
so
that was
do you think the reparations movement through ADOS had sparked this outrage and blatant envy
no, it was
for us?
before this. It was way before. And that's why when I used to be on side of the TV all the time, that video of Elder Smalls talking, that was years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah,
This
yeah.
this
Yo,
was
when was that? What's
that
the date on
was
that, if you remember?
if I can remember, that might have been like 2016 or 15, something like that. If I
Hmm.
can remember. But when we go back, see, I put it this way. I give it to you this way. Back in the 90s, here in Philadelphia, there was no little Africa section in Southwest Philly when I was growing up. All the Liberians and Ghanaians lived with us. You didn't even know we date African girls. You didn't even know she was African until you went to her mom's house, right? Because everybody lived together. It wasn't a Jamaican like they got in New York and maybe Newark and them places like that. They ain't have all those separate communities. If you was black, your ass lived in a community with everybody else in Philly. Then around 99, Africans start coming in from Ivory Coast, Nigeria, different places, and they built Lower Africa. So in like a 9-block radius, you got a whole African community now. And once that African community started to form, You started to see what you started to see was the Africans that's been here a long time, that's been here since the 70s, they don't get along with the Africans that's came here in the last 10 years. Because the ones that's been here since the 70s, a lot of them got babies with Black Americans. They done went to school. Like they ingratiate into the culture. The other ones ain't. So you start seeing the argument between them, and we start peeping the blitz, and we start calling this stuff out years ago. So when the COVID went down, and everybody was rioting all over the city and tearing up stuff, I did videos on my George Making One channel where not one FBA American went to Little Africa and broke a window or burned a store down. Not one of these stores got torched. I was down there talking to them, and I was, if you watch that video, I'm like, why y'all
Oh,
don't like
really?
us? But y'all was safe. Y'all just not running for y'all life from us. We didn't even,
Right.
nobody broke a window, did anything. What's y'all problem with us? And you know what they were saying. Well, we don't have no problem with y'all.
Right.
Yeah. You remember they was tearing the country up around 2000?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nobody touched the African store. Not one,
Yeah.
not even a rock was thrown their way.
Right. So that let you know, like, we intentionally did not, vandalize their because we know it was their businesses where we were mindful and we went around them.
Because they was putting up signs like it's a Black business. But we was
By
telling like, we
Black.
don't got no problem with y'all. Y'all got a problem with us.
Right, right. My boy ex architect he called it an ethnic, what do he call it? Ah, shit, I don't mess it up, but he calls it like they have an inferiority ethnic complex, like where they just can't accept the fact what Black Americans have contributed to this country and the world. Like they just feel like they just can't accept it. They gotta like somehow like defame it, bring it down. They can't just accept it. He called like an ethnic
Because
inferior
they have an
inferiority complex.
inferiority complex,
Yeah,
and they hate our being. Just the fact that when they turn their TV on and their radios, they see us. They see us. And a lot of that sparks hatred instead of sparking love and coming here at that time and saying, hey, I want to join in with you guys, man, and make the numbers bigger. They want to come in and join it against our enemies because they just hate your mere existence and your success. Because remember, we are a representation. The sad part is, I'm gonna say this, and this be controversial even on the FBA side, right? The sad part is when we all was practicing Pan-Africanism back in the day, it was all supposed to be a unified front, right? Our accomplishments, their accomplishments, you unified all together. But in the last 20 years, they've looked at our accomplishments as a form of jealousy of of their own failures, of their own failures. And that's the sad part. Because that's why they talk the way that they talk. Because think about it. Nobody make them call up Tariq Nasheed show. They
right,
decide they
right.
pick up the phone on their own and do it.
Hey, bro, I'm over here trying to get in contact. I'm on the same show trying to talk to Tariq, and I gotta wait behind 20 of them. Like, yo, do y'all love him or hate him? It's
Yeah.
confusing.
But why even, but the thing is this, if you know he's not talking to you, then why even call up? Because you gotta remember, they're coming from their country. They have intact land, intact culture, all the stuff that they got. But yet and still, we over here in our small numbers compared to everything else, and we still dominate and influence the world. We still dominate and influence the world.
Right, right.
And
Yep.
and that right there, it burns not all of them, but it burns a lot of them up. And they would
Yeah,
never come here. And think about it though, Ryan. They come here, they're educated already. They come here, they go to college. They know who we are and what happened to us and how we
that's
still
a good point. Yeah, because they
they
are
know it.
hyper selected. Yeah, so they are very they're the most successful immigrant group, the most
Yes.
educated. Yeah, so that's a great point. They are hyper selected, so they do know who we are. And they know what we have done. Yeah, true.
One of my good friends is from the Ivory Coast. We've been friends for 25 years. And he told me one day, when he first came over, he was a bona fide coon, right? We laugh about this to this day. And he said the way he grew up, because he grew up poor. And what's the name of that city in Ivory Coast? The main city. It's escaping me for a minute. But he was talking about like what the French used to do over there and how and he said when he turned 17, he couldn't wait to leave Ivory Coast and move to France to become a lawyer and marry a white woman because he thought that
Dang.
that was the status. This is all he knew. He wasn't educated on the West. He didn't really know our story until he came here. But he was the one that taught me that the educated class in the Ivory Coast that go to the elite schools and they go off to Europe to be educated, they know our whole story. They know everything about us. It's the ones that live in the villages that don't know our story. So he came over from France. He's been here for 25 years. He's thorough as hell, but he explains a lot of things to me that maybe we're not privy to from an African's perspective. And he's the one that always tell me, like, yo, when they come from the educated class, they don't like us. They're the ones oppressing us. So they're educated in all global affairs and stuff like that. So when they come here, they know who the fuck we are. That's why they call us Akata. And they stay away from us and they build their businesses but they still use, remember, they're smart enough to use the platforms that we set up for them to benefit from.
Right. Yeah, of
They're
course.
smart enough to do that. So don't fall. I tell people don't fall for it, man. Especially the ones that already come in with money, like them Nigerians.
Yeah, that's an interesting take on that, but it makes sense.
Yeah. And I live in a city I live in a city where there's a lot of Africans in Philadelphia, a lot of Africans, like a whole lot. And the crazy thing is, I had to learn when I came to social media that it's different cultures in America, even amongst us in different places you go to. So what might go on in Philadelphia might be different in New York City. It might be different in Texas. So when you come to New York, when I go up to New York City, man, they got Flatbush and they got all those different places in Brooklyn and stuff like that where the West Indians live separate from Black Americans. When you come here, outside of Little Africa, we all just live together. So when I would go to other places, it was a culture shock to me because we're not separated like that. So that's what I'm saying. Like some of my best friends is Haitians, Jamaicans, Black Americans, and you won't know until you go around their families.
Right.
That's the way. How the demographics is set up here. So yeah, it's weird, man.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, but I agree. Like you definitely, especially like the West Indians, like you definitely, for me, you really ain't like I had a friend named Shadu, he's Nigerian, and I told my boy Mike, I said, did you know Shadu was African? He's like, nah. Now his house did smell funny. Cause even when we went to his house, I still didn't know he was African. Right. I didn't know till recently because we thought about it. Like, yeah, did this whole delineation thing. We're looking back like, wait a minute. He was Hey, Chad Smith, did you know if Chad Smith in the building? Did you know Shadu was African way back in the 8th grade? I went to school with him. Let me know if you knew that because I didn't know that, but we knew his house smelled funny, so we used to roast him on his house. But he had jokes back though. Yo, my man could go. Like he definitely
because he understood the culture.
Yeah. Nah, he was funny as hell. I ain't even gonna lie. That's why I didn't believe he was African until like this whole delineation movement.
Where he from though? See, if he from
I think Nigeria.
Huh?
Wait, no, I don't know for sure. I gotta find out. I'm guessing, but it could be something else. I don't know why Nigeria's there, but he was poor, so it might not have been Nigeria. But I'm gonna try to find out. Maybe Chad Smith knows if he's in the
because
chat.
see, if you come from the South, like if you was our age and you was raised in like Georgia, the Carolinas, you ain't gonna be around a lot of Africans and Jamaicans. But if you up here in Jersey, Philly, New York, DC, Baltimore, you grew up around a lot. Like me, I grew up around a lot of Jamaicans. Like all my life, like around a lot of Jamaicans, and everybody was cool, right? Up until like the last 15 years. Like if I'm gonna be honest, because I don't tell no lies. I remember in the early 90s, niggas was trying to act like Jamaicans and Rastas. Because the two most influential groups that was connected was Black Americans and Jamaicans. We've been around them for a long time. And when you look at the influence around the world, it's us, and we influenced them. And then the reggaeton and all that kind of shit came out of reggae, which came out of us. Us two in this diaspora influenced everybody. So when all this stuff kicked off, I was surprised that a lot of the Jamaicans was calling up, and I used to say, "Why y'all getting in it?" You know, just coming from an East Coast perspective, what y'all got to do with it? Why y'all even getting involved? Y'all niggas got stores on there in every corner. We done been in y'all stores, everybody been intermingling with each other, East Coast. Why are we arguing with you? I'm confused. I said that was
Right.
confusing to me. You know what I mean? You know, so yeah, it's just it got weird in the last 20 minutes. And see, some people that's FBA may disagree with me, but I'm 50. They might not be my age, and they might not be they might not be from the East Coast. So am I wrong, Ron, when I'm saying in the early 90s a lot of dudes was being rosters?
Nah, yeah, I remember that. I remember that whole wave.
Yeah, it was a whole roster way because back then we got
I
but
remember
back
that.
then we got
I got
along.
a friend. I got a friend who's still doing that.
But that's the point I'm making.
FBA friend is still doing it.
Yeah, but that's because we got along though. We got along. It's just
No, we did. We did with yeah, with the Jamaicans more specific, we definitely got along with them.
I always thought that the two most groups that was connected here, it wasn't Haitians and Black Americans, it wasn't Trinis,
Nah.
it was Jamaicans and Black Americans.
Yeah, I didn't know a Haitian until I was 22 years old, bro.
Yeah, I'm just saying I didn't know the difference between a Haitian or a Jamaican. I just thought they was
Yeah.
all Jamaican.
You know, yeah, we call every Latino Puerto Rican, and we call every person from the island Jamaican, bro.
Yeah. Remember, you know, back in the day, you always had Mr. Winston or that Jamaican on the block that to pour the big speakers out on the weekends and play that loud ass music. Right? Yeah, I'm just saying that, but that's what it was. So I didn't, when Tariq started really calling them out, and a lot of Jamaicans were calling up, I was confused. I was scratching
Right.
like, why y'all calling up?
Hey, yo, me too. Yo, bro. When I first heard Jamaicans go against reparations movement, bro, I was as confused as you. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, yo, like I would expect an African, right, or an
Yes.
Indian. I'm like, why the hell the West End Jamaicans at all people? Why y'all out here revenues and the Jamaican dreams? Like, what's up with y'all? As a matter of fact, most of the island people who call it my show that resent what we're doing are Jamaicans. Like,
Yeah,
I have
that's the
I have
thing.
I
That's
have one
crazy.
Ivory Coast, one Trinidadian, and one somebody else, but most of the island that call here resenting what we're doing be Jamaicans, and that's really shocking.
But I thought I be thinking a lot of them are the younger guys because like a lot like I grew up on our hip hop. I grew up on our hip hop music, but like I said, I'm here in Philly. We listened to Jamal Ski. We listened to Barrington Levy back in the day. Buju Banton. I listened to them. I can't speak for other people, but here in Philadelphia, East Coast Corridor, I listen to Black Roses. And I like reggae. Reggae music is my second favorite music. So I listened to
Yeah,
all that. I grew up on that. So I didn't my experiences like outside of those Jamaican shower posses and gangs that came in the 80s, I ain't talking about them, the drug.
right.
I'm talking about Mr. Winston and Mr. Clarence and all of them that lived in the communities together. They had their stores and they used to play the drums and had a burning spear restaurants with the the uh damn what was the shit the incense and all that kind of stuff back in the 80s and the late 70s and 80s. So we all grew up together. So not seeing them that was kind of surprising to me because like
And
I said,
and
I got Jamaicans I'm cool with in the gym. We work out together every
you know
day.
you know what the whole narrative that they are traumatic or roasted, that's lying. Because I thought about my man Alex too, who's Jamaican. He had high waters. We used to roast him, bro. He took that on the chin. He was never offended. He was cool with us. And like here and there, he'll roast back, but most likely, like he got cooked every day as a freshman because he had high waters. And but bro, trust me, the dude wasn't traumatized. We graduated. Because he played ball. He was pretty good.
Mhm.
I learned how to play ball later, but he was a little better earlier. So I remember seeing him go in there, dap him up. This is like after high school. The dude had no lingering effects of roasting.
Mm-mm. But they're probably between them and Haitians, when you understand the early migrations, those are the two groups that was here the longest. But a lot of the Haitians, you didn't know, like the Jamaicans was there. Like, they were around in different spots in different places, especially in New York City and Philadelphia in the early 1900s. They was there. A lot of them was there. But you gotta remember, when you going back during them times, we didn't have these arguments. Black people was just black. Now, A. Philip Randolph had a problem with a lot of the West Indian that was coming over on some coon stuff. But for the most part, and tell me if I'm wrong again, Ron, if I'm in error, correct me. because I could be
No,
corrected.
I'm listening to you. I'm
But
listening.
when I'm gonna say, look, watch this. Tell me if I'm wrong when I say this. When I was growing up, some of the most hardcore Pan-African pro-black kill the white man was the roster.
Yeah, yeah,
They was more hardcore than anybody.
yeah. On the East Coast, because you have like Florida can tell their own story, but at least up here in like the tri-state, yeah, like the Jamaicans was pretty much we thought down.
Mm-hmm. In my opinion, they used to go harder than us a lot of times. Listen, I remember when Sizzler said, what's that song, Don't Know White Man or something, when he was going in the calling the Babylon system. When I first heard, the white man was the devil back in the day, the Nation of Islam first resurrection. They used to have
Yeah,
Jamaican dudes that was out there. They would start saying the Babylon system, and I never knew what that was. I learned that from them.
yeah, that's their talking point, the Babylon thing. But they I didn't really. I was a Nation of Islam member. I never really seen them in the ranks though, like that.
Here they was. They was in the ranks heavy. Here
Yeah.
in the it was them. I ain't seen no Africans, but it was
Now the
a lot
Africans were
of
not allowed.
yeah, it was a lot of Jamaicans and black. It was mostly Black Americans, but it was a lot of Jamaicans in the nation with them back.
But yeah, and again, like we didn't delineate, so a lot of people I thought was foundational could have been, Jamaican.
And remember, see, that's the thing the problem I got with that dude Dante Kyle, because he running his mouth talking about we need to be all inclusive, and I'm like, see, if I got a chance to debate him, I'll shut that down real fast, because
Yeah, he'll never debate you though.
yeah,
Those
I got
guys
the
just
history
talk.
on my side to show how inclusive we've been.
Right.
We've been
Yeah,
too inclusive.
to our own fault. Right.
We had the history. The history is on our side, and the thing is, we can literally get a microphone, and we can go all up down New York, all up and down North Jersey, and all up and down Philly, right, and DC and Baltimore, and show me the West Indian or African is running for their lives in black communities.
Right. Right. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not happening.
Exactly. It's a made up, like this whole narrative is totally concocted, conjured up. It's made up.
Yep. And the thing though, and my homie agreed with this. I actually got a video I'm about to do with a friend of mine from Kenya. We about to do an interview. We're gonna talk about what's going on right now. I'm trying to do a couple interviews with some of my friends from. I got a homie from Mauritania. He wanna do a video. I'm gonna start doing some videos with some of the Africans and some of the Caribbean people having these conversations and
Okay.
their perspectives, and I want to know why they talk the way that they talk about us, and then the ones that's 10 toes down, why they 10 toes down, because here when I'm around a lot of them all the time, and I be talking to them, so I'm gonna start
Right.
putting it in video.
Yeah. That'd be dope to document it. So so the narrative can it be balanced. It's not like one way. Because right now they acting like there's this diaspora war that's like it's FBAs against the West Indies and stop.
And that's why I said I'm learning. Like I don't know what it's like in Detroit on the ground, offline. But if you was here, Ryan, in Philly, and offline in the communities, not the ones that live downtown or live in the village around, white folks and stuff, and they got their little white girlfriends and they going to UPenn, but the ones that go like the Temple University, or they in like the communities, they don't talk like this. They rock with us. They rock with us. You got the ones that be calling up to Tariq Nasheed. They're the ones that live downtown, or they come here. They go to University of Penn and stuff like that. But if you go through like Southwest and stuff like that, man, to keep it real, man, where I grew up, Southwest, one of the most violent sections damn near in America, right? When you go to Southwest, I'm gonna tell you how crazy Southwest is. The Liberians been integrated so long that they got like them little, well, they locked them a lot, they locked a lot of them up. But those drill gangs, man, them Liberians and Black American kids, they all ganged up together, fighting against in the community together. Like it's together. Like what them people that call up online is not reflective of what go on outside in the street, unless you go to like Little Africa.
And you know what? That's the interesting thing. That's why, the Nation of Islam got something, and well, the 5% and Nation of Islam got something called Destroy and Rebuild, because maybe that's why a lot of them like take the delineation thing hard, because of these pacts we made with them without delineation. So if they feel like they're entitled to what we have and they're one of us, and like delineation wasn't never established. I think this is great to establish who we are separate from them, and then build a relationship that'll be more defined.
Well, it's psychological because it's two things. Things you gotta remember. What part of Jersey you from?
Central.
All right, you from Central Jersey, right? So let's go up to like a place like, let's just say Jersey City.
Yeah.
Right? Jersey City. I'll use Jersey City and Newark, right? When you go ride through Newark or Jersey City, those are not cities, those are marketplaces. So in the marketplace, groups come here to compete. And in those places, the black FBA community has been at the bottom. We patronize everybody else. Same thing in Philadelphia. So their lifestyle has always been predicated on your dysfunction. They're able to come into the house, extract without having to put anything back in, because we wasn't requiring them to put anything back in.
Yeah.
So the minute we lift our head up out the sand and say, hey, we want to self-identify, that changes the consciousness of what they've been operating on. And that's a problem. So what happens is this, that's a problem for them economically and protection-wise. They've been able to camouflage amongst us because we've been for so long. So the minute we wake up and self-identify, they can't just come here and identify as just being black and come in and open the window up, extract things from, don't put nothing back in. It ain't gonna work like that. Now the door is locked and the windows are closed. So now remember, you're not supposed to have a culture. As long as you don't have a culture and you're giving everything away, then listen, we cool, we can be friends. But the minute you wake up and say, all right, hold on, Playboy, listen, wait for me right out here. I gotta go in the crib for a minute, holler at my people. You mean I can't come in? No, I can't bring you in the crib right now. You gotta
right.
Now they start having temper tantrums because all of it is not hate, Ron. Some of it they're not used to it. They're not used to us wanting to have something of our own. They're used to us giving everything away. They're shocked by it. We're doing things that they would never do. And we've always been like that up until recent. And now is a problem. So it's two things. Some of it is they're confused, and some people know what we're doing. They fully understand what we're doing. But again, because matter of fact, hold on. I'm gonna show you something. Let me prove my point.
Yeah, we are unapologetically black. Like that's what we coming with. So like if feelings get hurt, if that stuff happens, it's like, hey man, wounds do heal. So you'll be all right.
I'm gonna show you something, Ron. I did on my live stream the other day. Because I let the Africans tell you themselves. There was a conversation between a brother from the Congo and another brother, man. And this African brother kept it so real, man. I mean, he shut the other African dude down, like just shut him all the way out. Hold on.
You gonna say your screen?
Yeah, wait, I gotta find that part of the clip real quick, and then I'm gonna share it before I matter of fact, let me go here now. They still got that other video yellow too, man. Hold on. Let me pull it up this way. Okay. Yeah. I'll share my screen on here. Share. Do you see it? Ron?
Let me see. Yeah, I see it.
All right, let me make it bigger real quick.
If it wasn't for what you are the resident Afghan. It's a little low though. It's a little low. It's a little low.
I'm gonna turn it up. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it up.
born in Africa. Most of my life was raised in America.
Now I want you to listen to this. This is an Ethiopian girl, right? And this why I'm telling you that they can't watch this, right? They can't tell us that they don't understand. This Ethiopian chick kept it all the way 100. Because not every last one of them are tethers. A lot of them on the continent do like us, right? It's the
Yeah,
one,
we never say they all tethered, right?
yeah, right. Watch this. Watch this.
Or they had to make sure that everybody knew that they were foreign and they were not like us.
Hey, mommy, I don't think Ethiopians are ready to have the conversation that we love cosplaying African American when it benefits us for permission to using the N-word, to being credited for or profiting off of the ingenuity of Black Americans, by calling in because of our skin color, i.e., people trusting, loving, and endorsing of Black Americans for good food, music, language, fashion, social justice movements, arts, etc. Everything that erupted out of this beautiful culture. Basically, we love clout chasing African American culture for our own benefits, but when it really comes down to it, when it comes down to being Black, we'll play model citizen immigrant in a hot second for our own convenience, forsaking our Black brothers and sisters for any opportunity, no, or even much less, for a man or a moment. Yeah. I don't think we're ready for that either. My bad.
Do you think there's a difference?
Now hold on.
Initial Black
Now what?
American.
Hold on. Watch
Yeah,
this.
this one I seen before. I had played this one, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's because the brother, man, he got him straight real quick too. Because remember when it started, he said, "Do you think that there's a difference between the African and foundational Black American?" The brother from the Congo said, "Absolutely, it is."
Right.
Difference between initial Black American versus an African, because I feel like even though I was born in Africa, most of my life was raised in America. I joined the military and I was ready to die for this country. Yeah. So technically speaking, I am African American. So do you think there's a difference between?
And you deserve every bit of America that you fought for, did everything for. But your ancestors ain't do nothing for this country. Be honest with us. Yeah. Let's be real. They got us here. If it wasn't for their hard work, and if it wasn't for what
you are the resident African American, man.
If African Americans win in their struggle in the United States, that is a blueprint for us in Africa and the rest of the world. So with their struggle for reparations, it equals to the conversation about what Sudan needs from England, what Sudan needs from the Arab world, what Sudan needs from every other person that has been able to take a part of South Sudan.
Go out and say this and go. So the thing is, when I'm I'll stop sharing. The thing is, when I be saying, I tell people they know what's going on. They play stupid, like the Ethiopian girl said. They know our story. A lot of them come here. That brother from the Sudan talking to that dude from the Congo, he got him straight. He's telling no, we are different, and their story is paramount to us getting our story together. So that's a brother that's down. The other dude, this is what they do. Because we always had an open door policy. The guy talking about he lived here half his life. Well, if you've been living here half your life, how can you make the statement that you're the same as us? What he did was just take all of our story and culture and throw it out the trash and make it about what he is, to the point where the other brother had to tell him, no, nigga, your ancestors ain't do nothing for this country. Nothing.
Yeah.
So why would you think you're the same as them?
Yeah, this is why I noticed the confusing word that's being thrown around loosely that I've been like checking is Black. Because I even heard an Ethiopian sister said the Black, like that's what's drawing the confusion. All right. Because when I ask anybody who applies that word to non-foundation Black American, I like to say, in what sense are they Black? And nobody can give, well, you only can give one sense. You can only say by an adjective, a descriptor, but that's not why we're Black. We're not Black because we're a certain color. We're not a certain color. We are different shades, and some of us light as Prince. So Blackness to us was never a descriptor. Matter of fact, Black in America is capitalized. It's a proper noun. So where our Blackness is different from their quote unquote Blackness. They're Black by a description. Most times an X on them, an outsider calls them that. But Blackness to us is our identity. It's our ethnic label. It's how the world, it's our first name, basically. That's not their first name. You just said Congo. You just said Ethiopian, Sudanese. That's their first name. Jamaican's the first name, Haitian. Right. So the way they're able to co-opt the word Black and apply it to themselves as a descriptor, as a racial term, but for us, it's not a racial term. It's actually an ethnonym. and via endonym, we call it ourselves and we define ourselves. That's what's causing all the confusion, or most of the confusion, when we
Let me
get
see.
past certain
Let me
barriers.
ask you this, Ron. Let's have this conversation real quick. I
Yeah.
want to reshare the screen for a minute. I want to play something, and then I want us to have a. I'm gonna ask you some stuff, but I want to, based off of what you're saying right now, because I agree with you. But I want to I want to further this conversation because I think it's necessary. Because but before I play it, I give you my beginning stance, right? My stance is what you're saying is correct, us as Black Americans, but I also believe that there was an identifier when we deal with other groups, people that look like us coming from around the world. And we had this thing where we identified as Black. But what I learned was, and this is my perspective, so that's why I want to have a conversation. What I learned was when they seen us and they didn't want to identify with us, they automatically said that I'm not Black, I'm this. But they wasn't doing it under the context of what you're saying it. They was doing it under the context of not wanting to be a part of us but benefit from us, while at the same time undermining us, but then being Black when it's convenient. That's the way I seen it. But if I'm gonna share my screen where I'm where I could illustrate my point, and then I want you to elaborate on it.
Yeah.
I'm where I can explain what I'm trying to say. Now, this is a brother. This is a Arab, a Black Arab, right, from the Horn of Africa, right, and he's explaining how they are the indigenous people to that Sudan, Libya area, and the Bedouins and the other groups came in later and commandeered the land. And when he's referring to himself, he never even been to America. But when he's referring to himself, he knows who he is and who his people are. But he's still referring to himself as Black as an identifier. Black people are indigenous and been around the what's the name? So I separate him from. Matter of fact, yeah. Let me do it. Let me do this first. Then I separate him from these people right here, right? When you see people do this,
the fact that I never really saw myself as a Black person growing up. I feel those, of course, is something else.
I'm not Black.
So when you hear these people in America talk this stuff like this guy here, he said, hold on. So that way I can lay out I want to lay out my point the right way. So that way people can understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. This guy, hold on. These are my own damn videos. I can't even remember where.
The app guy, you went past it.
I'm trying to find this guy when he was talking. He said some real nasty stuff about Black Americans when they asked him about being Black. Like he went, damn, I don't know. This shit is in here. So I hate when you live or something, you try to find some shit, but you
Oh
can't
yeah,
find
that's why I never wing it when I'm live. I don't try to wing it when I'm
it.
live because
Yeah,
that
right.
happens. Yeah,
It don't
that's
never
why
pop up
I try to be
until
prepared as possible. Yeah, before I go live, I try to get all my ducks in order. Cause I know when you wing it, you're never gonna find it.
you know what? It might be in here. Hold on. It might be right in here. Yeah,
Because
here,
everybody folding their arms like, "What's up?
here it go.
What's
Yeah,
going
here
on
it
here?"
go. Now look at this dude.
Don't identify as being Black. Also, like I was
Not Black, I'm African.
They're not Black.
No. It's a big difference. That's I came in a plane, they came in chains. Yeah. I'm passenger, their cargo.
So now when he's saying he's not identifying as Black, he's saying in a very disrespectful manner of disrespecting us as a people. Now when this man right here speaking, he's speaking from an identifier, right? And he's saying that we are the indigenous people to this land, not these Arabs or not these mixed race looking people that came in. We are the people. So he's speaking like this, right? So I'll just play this like a minute, right? Minute 30 seconds, and then I want you to give me your opinion.
But you came, did you originally? They came. But me, I say I'm here. So they have to be clear if you discuss with them. Okay, they say, all of you come here, okay? Who was leaving this land? They say it's a Black man. The Black man. And before maybe 2000, where's the Hebrews? The Hebrews were Black as well, right? Yeah. There was it. In this land, they was just the big Black people like me.
So for me, when I hear him talk, I hear him using that as just an identifier, right, of the dark races. But he has a nationality and a culture and a language connected to that. We use black in a different connotation, but he still use it as an identifier. You understand what I'm saying?
Let me tell you the difference, all right?
All right, gotcha.
So I know that Bilal Al Sudan, right? These guys were Nubians, Kushites. They were called black by Arabs, right? That's called an exonym. That's when an outsider colonizer named you something and you take on that name and its derogatory definition. When they called them land of the blacks, that wasn't something to like give them reverence or pay homage. They were disrespecting them, right? And they changed their name. Like they were already identified as something. So they took on their colonizer's name. That's called an exonym. Exo means out, nym mean name. That's called an outside name, right? They didn't name themselves.
Right.
They took on, right. So, but they already had an identity prior to that. Okay.
And
So when it
real
comes,
quick, so I can understand. That's why, because I'm with you 100%. That's why I said he has a language, a culture, and land connected to where he come from, but he's using that as an identifier to illustrate these people were on the land first. That's what I was
right,
getting from what he's saying.
right. But the difference is this. The difference is that, so their ethnonym is Sudan. It changed. It was something else. And now it's this, and outsiders renamed them. So they had a name that they named themselves at one point, and a colonizer renamed them, and they took it. You know, it's like us staying with Negro or colored, right? That's an exonym too. What we did was right. So what we did was we took off those psychological names in 1960s, and we renamed ourselves black with our own definition. That's called a endonym. Endo means in, and then name. It's an end name. So we identify ourselves with black, and that black is not based on color. Their black is based on color. That's why I said the land of the blacks, the land of dark-skinned people.
Yeah.
Our blackness ain't based on color. Our blackness is describing the long 400-year lineage in America, started from chattel slavery all the way to now. So there's no way you could come to America and be black, because to be black means that you went through U.S. chattel slavery and where we are now.
It's almost describing what our nationality would be, damn near.
Yeah, so it's our ethnonym. Well, nationality just when you become a citizen. So it's impossible for anybody to be one of us. That's like we can't be German, we can't be Nigerian or Igbo. Like that's something you gotta be born into.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So again, see, that's what caused the confusion, because people are calling themselves Black Brits, Black Scottish, Black Irish, Black Brazil, and whatever. But these are they're describing themselves based on color. These are adjectives. All right. This ain't the same what we're doing. We're saying we're black, and there's no other name. Like we rejected Negro, we rejected color. They didn't reject. Did they ever reject Nubian and Kushite? No, like they accept that as their history. We rejected the former exonym that was placed on us by our enslavers.
See,
So let me just finish.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that even if they so-called black, they're not black like us. All right. So we're going to concede to that. They're still not black like us, because our black is a 400-year experience in America that you just can't come to America and become. And by the way, they are Sudan, Sudan. We are BLACK. Okay, so we ain't gonna play with semantics and what that means. So when they come to America, you're still Sudan. Like, don't Sudan mean black? Okay, you're Sudan. You're Sudanese. You're still not black. We're black. So
I agree.
Right.
I agree with you. I think, yeah, I agree. I think but over the years, right, when we would get on the Dominicans, when the Dominicans say, "I know black, I'm Dominican," right, and we would get on them, and I looked at it from the perspective of, no, you're a Dominican. You're a Dominican. That's your nationality. You have your own language. You have your own land. But a lot of them come here. They go just like us. We all standing in the street together. So when the context of the way you're using it, I get it. But like growing up, we use black as an identifier. So it's kind of like, you know, when all of us got together, this guy over here, he's from the Congo, but he still was black.
Well,
I'm saying,
but I'm gonna tell you the confusion. The confusion came with Jesse Jackson. So when he introduced African American, he allowed that to become a dual usage of words. So now for the first time, our ethnonym, all right, is covering a race and a ethnic group, right? So now race we know is a social construct created by white people. There's no race in Africa. Africa don't call nobody black, by the way. The African Union and the rest of the world use the acronym POAD, People of African Descent. So the AU don't call nobody from Africa, nobody from Brazil black. They call them persons or people of African descent. So race is a white American Western social construct they made up over here to group people with similar traits, similar ancestry. This is why you have Asians, and with Asians you got Chinese people, Japanese, and East Indians. Like, come on, man, everybody know East Indians are not Asians, but this is what they do with this racial thing. So now, with Jesse Jackson introducing African American, and that was co-opted by the OMB to now become used as a race plus ethnonym. So this is where the confusion starts. So when they come over here and they're allowed to check black African American, now they're black African American. So we're just taking them just off that. We don't understand what's going on. So they look like us, right? They're hanging out with us, like they seem like they're on code with us. So we're okay, you're black, but we know deep down inside they're not black like us.
Right. Well, that's the point I was making. I was just, all my years when we were growing up, I knew that the person that came over from this place was different from me, but we all were still just black in the room.
See, but that's what we're cleaning up. Okay, that's part of the lineage thing. What we're saying, you still can be brotherly with us. You still can ride with us, but you're gonna ride with us as a Sudan person because see this whole black thing now is back to we don't know if he's Jamaican, Haitian. See, we're calling everybody Haitian again.
But you understand
we're calling everybody
saying,
Puerto Rican.
Right?
Now I got you though.
Yeah.
I got you, but I'm just explaining for you in the chat. So because I know this is like it caused a lot of confusion because people are saying they black. And when you say when they say that, that don't mean nothing to us. That it's not telling us what country they're from. It's not telling us what tribe they're from. They're just generically black. But when we say black, the world knows we mean ex-chattel slavery slaves. Right. So we saying, yeah, don't come under blackness because that's not telling us anything. That's why Tariq Nasheed asked him, "What's your homeland?
Right.
What's your tribe?" And that's what you are. Fine. Okay. There's nothing wrong with being Sudanese, Ethiopian, Eritrean.
And this is the reason why I wanted to have this conversation because it's something I say on my channel all the time. Trying to undo a conditioning that's been in place for so long is not easy. That's why you need days and hours and days and hours of repetition every day until it become a new thing. Because you're trying to reverse a consciousness that's been downloaded and been there for so long, a thought process. So that's why I played this and I wanted to get your perspective on it because all my life I understood my blackness was different than them, but we still called everybody black. So no, the way you explain it, I understand. Like I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. It's a slow process. That's why I don't mind when you Tariq Nasheed, because Tariq calls them black too. So I don't mind. I know what y'all mean when y'all say that. So it don't bother me. Even when y'all say or people say African American to describe us, I know what they mean. So it don't bother me. I know what people really mean. I'm not that petty.
Yeah, we used to saying things for so long.
Right. So that's why it's much easier to just put an F there, foundational, which delineates our blackness from somebody else's blackness, and then in the background, I would take the task on to like work what I'm working on. Like, all right, look, okay, black, whatever. But listen, when we say Black Wall Street, you're not there. See, and then that goes back to the confusion part. Everybody's black, but then when we say Black Wall Street, then they're like, hey, yay. We like, no, not you. But I'm black. And then I'm telling you, when it comes to reparations, bro, like, listen, it's gonna be a lot of lawsuits stalling out of reparations because it's going to be built. If it's built on blackness, we're done because they're gonna fill it out, apply for it. Once they get denied, they're gonna say, "Whoa, hold on, I was approved on everything else that had black on it. Now all of a sudden I'm denied." They're gonna file discrimination. So it's gonna be a lot of
and that's why we was trying to get on the paperwork. When they filling out paperwork, there has to be a separation. There has to be foundational Black Americans born in the U.S. and then those coming from somewhere else. That's
right.
So
So now that started with individual FBA activists. That started with ADOS Advocacy Foundation and other organizations that did did the Freedmen, Descendants of Freedmen. So they all petitioned to the OMB, the Office Management Budget, to get rid of that black African American umbrella for everybody, persons of African descent.
Yeah.
So ever since 2024,
Right.
they added that extra disaggregation thing there. And matter of fact, they got until March 28th of this year to decide if they're going to put FBA or ADOS on the new form. Right.
Okay.
So yes, that's very shortly. But yeah, so we back here like making moves, and the OMB is listening because the government does not name you. You name yourself. The government
There you go.
goes along with it and
There you
respects
go.
that. So that's why they have the additional slots there now. And for us, is the write-in part. We just write. We select Black African American, and then we write in whatever you think you are. Solon, FBA, ADOS. You write African American. You write that in right there, and that they're gonna take that. That's the new census. They taking that and considering that for the future.
Going forward, yeah, because you have to have that separation, because if you have that separation on paper on anything that you want to do in the United States, if you call yourself black, they're going to know anyway, because now there's going to be something that's going to separate you when you go into these municipal buildings and all these different places. You're not going to be able to cosplay as us.
Yeah, so that's why I would like the wording just to be right.
Right.
Let's go with POAD. Let's take Black African American off, and let's just go with what the world calls everybody African descent. The world calls everybody people of African descent. America got this new little, and I believe it's for certain shit. Like you just said, they came over here in like the early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That's when the OMB put African American on the form.
Yeah.
So it's a coincidence that they came here in the millions at the right time where African American was now extended to them.
Yeah, they didn't come here, start coming here to the year like early 2000s.
Yeah, so they came after the wording was RIPED for them to take on our identity to cause this massive confusion. So what I was saying is our ethnonym have a dual usage. It's the only ethnonym in the world with a dual usage. It covers a specific ethnic group, and it covers a race of gazillion people that's African descent. And that right there, that's just too much confusion. We're like, hey, let's just take that off. It's not going to cause no culture or nothing, because they know they're Haitian. They know they're Jamaican. They know they're this, they know they're that. And even when we have these arguments with these guys, what they going to do? They pull up black on black crime. Then I say, wait a minute, aren't you black? And so aren't you part of that crime stat? So I remind them, like, see what you're doing? You're backing away from what you just claimed. So I'd rather just take it from you completely, so you can't hide behind that leaf. Just keep your Jamaicanness, keep your Zimbabweanness, where we ain't playing these semantical games where now you're black and now you're not. How about you just be Sudanese from now on?
But see, that's why I wanted to have the conversation, because and it needs to be had, because for so many years we argued before we start having these kind of conversations. Like I said, I don't lie, I keep it a buck. We cussed people out that didn't say that they was black for a long time.
Yeah, it confuses because we didn't know that they're really not. They're exactly how they came to the country.
Right.
So when they come here as evacuees, asylees, refugees, they don't come here as black. They come here from their homeland, country name, or their tribe name, and then they be miraculously black when they touch ground. So yeah, it confuses us.
They was right the whole time.
Yeah. So when you look back at it, you be like, when it's sister you got on that video, I seen the part, her thumbnail on there. I'm not black. It's like, well, you are. She's been disrespectful, like the other guy with the plane. They're disrespectful, but they're actually correct. It's us who are confused. And I look back at Jesse Jackson, and that started the whole confusion.
Yeah, and see, but that's why I was using the term. Their association with not wanting to be black is coming from a disrespectful position, though, of not wanting to be associated with us. Period. But
because they look at you got to look at what they tie blackness to. So I can't blame them, because before they come here, remember, I told you that colonizers would call Africans black in a derogatory way.
Yes.
Right, it wasn't something pleasing. So that's why people rejected black. Blackball. Dr. Khalid Muhammad talk about it. Black this, black, all negative stuff. So who wanna take that name willingly? It's tied to a bunch of negativity. Right. So, and also they added to it laziness, slavery. So it has all these negative connotations tied to blackness. So why would people who claim they got culture claim we don't? And also in their minds, black comes with cultureless. So why would you take on a term that you just laughed at and said it was tied to no culture, why would you voluntarily take on a term that's associated with no culture, according to them? So that's why, like, you know, they don't really take it. They take it for political reasons, to get certain set asides and move around, protection, like you said earlier, but they'll never really take it because they believe it's tied to a cultureless people who are lost, people who need to come back home, people lazy, begging the white man, want to be white. That's what they think blackness is.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. No, but that's why I wanted to have the conversation, because I wanted to get a different perspective outside of the way I was viewing it. Because, like I said, for years we cussed Dominicans out for years. But say, I know black.
we did. Anybody that was like melanated, but what started my confusion was really early in my life when I would see a dark-skinned Indian. And I'm like, so am I gonna call him black too?
Yeah, right.
So I'm like, dude, clearly darker than me, but we don't call him black. I'm like, no, actually, I still call him black. He rejected it. So I'm like, but how am I black? Because he would agree I'm black. I say, wait, how am I black and you're darker than me and you're not black? And then they will, whatever excuse they gave, then I was like, oh, okay, so it ain't about color. It's something else to this. It's not color.
But see, to add on to what you're saying, though, when you really sit back and you look at it from your conscious mind, us just using that blanket term black is why we're losing, because everybody else has a self-identifier, and they know when they come here, we're forcing them to be black. They say, okay, I'll be black for right now, yeah, and I can get everything y'all getting, and then when it's time to be Jamaican again, they go back to being Jamaican. But then we get mad at them for doing that, when it's really our fault.
Yeah, it is.
It's our fault. Because the thing is that one banner of blackness, but that proves the point where Dante Cowell's full of shit. Because just off of what we just said, this 10-minute conversation, right? This part of this 10 minutes of identifier. This right here proves how all-inclusive we've been. Because they've been able to come in off of blackness.
Great point. And look, and we made them black. They didn't want to, some of them didn't want to be black. We said no. We made them black.
Yeah, like we forced them to be a part of.
Right.
So
that's true. Right. So that definitely cooks them. Yep, that cooks them. Yeah, we made. Yeah, and they can't deny everybody from the continent, everybody from the island who came over here. We made them black. And even the Latinos, we made them. We argue up and down they're black.
Yep.
Cubans, all those folks. We said they were black. So yeah, so we were very inclusive. We're not xenophobic. We were very inclusive.
So let me ask you a question then, though. Let me put this on the table, because I'm comprehending everything that you're saying. I'm with you. I got it. I got what you're saying. But what about? Oh, that's the baby. I was like, what was that?
Yeah.
What about those in the Caribbean? The Rastas. The blacks in Cuba and all those that do identify as black but still be Cuban, but they call themselves black. What about them?
Yeah, they're confused. They're exactly what they said they were. They say Afro-Latino, Afro-Caribbean. There you go. Because the blackness is new. It's 2010. You know what I mean? So that means your entire life you were what? Your entire life you were what? And then they're only black when they come to America.
But let me push back just a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I got Caribbean roots in my family. They always called themselves black. But
in what sense? Yeah, but now go back to in what sense?
That's what we get to. They always call themselves black, but in the sense of the way you're explaining it, from separating the nationality and then us a self-identifier, it's two different things. So I believe that they called themselves black just in the old, just if you go back to the 70s and the 80s, when the white man just seen everybody as niggas, right? And when certain countries you go to, they still call themselves black, but it's still not the same connotation that you're using it under. So that's why I get what you're saying, because I can listen to what your breakdown and understand that they can be black, but if they're using black in the same term we're using it, we're losing, because we're giving up our identity for somebody else to come and benefit from. But they don't have to give up their Cuban or their Jamaican or something else for us to benefit from. So I get what you're saying.
Now, but the other way to look at it is this. The same way they could put it on and take it off, we can't. So
Right.
like, okay, so but remember, that's how we separate ourselves from Jewish people who say, well, we've been discriminated against too. We've been this, but then what we say, yeah, but you take off that yarmulke and those jewelry, you're white. Or in the LGBT community, we say, hey, yeah, but if you just stop, if you just take, don't show your significant other, you're straight. So biases and discrimination on them is something they're walking into. Like they can actually avoid it. Our identity, we can't take off black. So
Right.
So that's why we say cosplay. It's not a costume. It's permanent.
No,
So
I'm with you. I understood what you
yeah.
said. That's why I said that's why I said there's a different connotation because just to make it short and sweet, the difference is if we continue to keep allowing them to use blackness the way we use it, we lose in the long run because we're giving away or we're giving everything away where they're not having to sacrifice nothing. See, we didn't realize that when we allow them to be black, we're actually sacrificing everything that we fought for them to come benefit, but they don't have to put nothing back into the pot. They don't have to add nothing.
I'm gonna share my screen to illustrate it a little better.
Yeah.
Okay. Watch this. Okay, so this is 2007.
Yeah.
Right. So this is Obama. I think he's going for his second term. So listen to the language. So this ain't new language saying they're not black. And matter of fact, I got a video in 1989 when Jesse Jackson introduced African Americans because the same way FBA ADOS is new now,
yes,
right? And we're accepting it. Yeah, African,
yep.
but the difference is the grassroots. There was roundtable discussions where elitists, intellectuals was coming together saying, nah, we're not African American, we're black. And Kwame Ture was part of those roundtable discussions, and he switched up. He went from black power to we're African Americans, and like they were cooking the shit out of him. But listen to this right here. Yep, listen to this.
Will announce his candidacy this weekend at the old state capitol in Springfield, Illinois, where Abraham Lincoln made his stirring House Divided speech. How historic. At a building made famous by the man who freed the slaves, Obama isn't the descendant of slaves.
Okay, so then a white guy now if a white man can see this,
yes.
Okay, he's running for president. He's called an African American first black, right? Yes. And he's like, he isn't a descendant of slavery. Look, he's going to go further.
His father emigrated from Kenya in 1959, and his mom is the Swiss Miss Girl.
Okay, but now, so he's doing what I'm doing. I'm saying, well, you're not black because you're from Kenya. You're Kenyan. Right. Now, watch this. Watch this.
Some are even claiming that the senator has not lived the, quote, black experience, and it may affect...
There you go. Now, I'm going to go further, but I want to just elaborate there.
That right there is powerful. The black experience.
Right. Exactly. So blackness to us is an experience. Yes. And you heard the experience. He gave you DOS before ADOS was even a thing. He said he was not a descendant of slavery. That's ADOS. Hey, so this white dude said ADOS before ADOS.
Let me play devil's advocate.
Wait. Okay. I got one more. Okay. So I want to point out a white man clearly saying he just defined blackness. Blackness is he said he haven't lived the black experience, and he defined it as descendant of slavery. So the black experience is to be a descendant of slavery. Now, one more. Now he's going to interview Deborah Dickerson. Watch this. So this is the language at the time. Watch this.
Is Barack Obama black?
No, he's
Boom.
not. In the American political context, black means the son of West African, the descendant of West African slaves brought here to labor in the United States. It's not a put down. It's not to say that he hasn't suffered. It's not to say that he doesn't have a glorious lineage of his own. It's just to say that he and I, who am descended from West African slaves brought to America, we are not the same.
All right. And then right here. So now this is, see? So this is the LA Times and the New York Times. LA Times, they were saying if he is black, then he's a new black man. Like he's not black like U.S. chattel slavery descendants are. That he's a new black. So like every America was coming together saying if these Africans are black, if these Caribbeans are black, then they must be a new black. But they're not black like Foundation Black Americans. So I want to hear your pushback.
I was muted. I'm doing this for like a lot of my followers that watch me, because I understand everything you're saying, but I'm just playing devil's advocate for a minute. And the only reason why I'm doing this from this perspective, from an educational perspective, because you mentioned Stokely Carmichael. And I think that this is important. I want you to lay this part out too. Stokely Carmichael and them, they was throwing their fists in the air, him, H-Rap Brown and all them, and they was saying black power and power to the people. And they was bringing black people over from the Caribbean that was being part of the movement too, and they identified as black. So, and they went through slavery and they went through these things, right? So I'm gonna separate our reparations argument. I'm just dealing with that term black for a second. When we talk black, and the reason why when we were growing up, we cussed people out when they said that they didn't want to be black, right? That consciousness came from those teachings back then. So what happens to when a Stokely Carmichael is saying black power and they identifying as black, and then we're being taught that, right? And then they come and they say, well, Obama's not black, which I agree, because black is an experience. But then a person that's our age, we was taught these teachings here.
Right. So now, you playing a video?
No.
Okay. Right. Okay. So again, this is why we're delineating, and it just means we're clearing things up. We're for the record.
Right.
Okay. So a lot of us did not understand that black was co-opted as a racial category. All right. We didn't know that. And we kind of even know how we were using black, because our ethnic group, our language evolves. Our language, like, we don't have a set language. Like I call it a living language. Like, we got the only living language on earth. Like, you can't learn AAVE in 1990 and you know it all. Nope, because the language, what's no cat? What's roasting? You see, the language, we use cracking, right? They say roasting and other terminology for getting on each other. So our living language constantly evolves. All right. So where we at in 2026, we understand. We didn't understand then, because we thought that it was, we were inviting them into blackness. Like, we're going to be black together. We didn't know that they were holding high. The ones who were not yet citizens, and even the ones that were, we didn't know that they hold immigration higher than blackness. We didn't know that. We thought once they said they were black, once they was with us, we thought blackness was the first. Okay, hold on. So we thought blackness to them was the first
say that
priority.
part right there, though. Say that part right there. That's what I was looking for. I'm glad that you said that. And there's a read. And I'm for the chat. I'm asking Ron these questions. I know a lot of the answers, but these conversations, a lot of them is not being had in the proper context. That's why I'm asking Ron these questions, and I want him to say it, because, like I said, a lot of us was on the ground saying black power and power to the people. And now Ron is saying the changing is coming, but you said something that was real important about how we use blackness. They put their, their immigration over.
Yeah, status over it. Right.
There you go.
So they're immigrants first. They're immigrants first. They're Jamaican sex, and a lot of them put their career next. Like, a lot of, like, again, they're only really black when we force them to be black. So to satisfy us, they're black. Well, they walk away from us, they're like, all right, whatever. And so, but again, like, in our ignorance, we're doing that. Like, we're not. But listen, we had elitists though. Deborah Dickinson was around. We had other intellectuals around who argued like I'm arguing now. Like, early on, I showed a brother, I forgot his name, but then I got the debate with Dr. Alim Muhammad with I got him debating Alim, not Ali, Alim with an M.
Alim, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I know his medical stuff a little pseudo, but his argument for blackness was on point. So he was debating on C-SPAN for blackness over African American, and that was 1989. So that was exactly when Jesse Jackson introduced it. And there was just so much pushback from the grassroots and our intellectuals. I told you roundtable discussion, those were not Nation of Islam members. These are Harvard educated people, wrote books, all type of making moves, and it was like, nah, we're not African American, we're not African in no sense, socially. Well, we are socially black for them, black people. So we're pasting blackness on people, and obviously we were not pasting it as an ethnonym. we were pasting it as like a, I guess you could say, honorary black card. Like,
Okay.
I think you could work with us on these projects or on these
But we wasn't
policies.
demanding nothing from them. They didn't have to sacrifice anything.
Well, we thought automatically if we again, like we're thinking that they know what we did here, and when we make you black, you're automatically black power
But
first.
stay right there, Ron. Again, that's the conundrum where I said on my live stream the other day, right? And I get pushed back from this, but I stand strong, firm on this. Our biggest detractors is not going to come from immigrants. It's going to come from our own people. Because when you're trying to do what you're doing, Ron, right now, and retrain a conditioned mind, a lot of people don't want to let it go or don't know how to let it go. And then a lot of the purse strings is connected to being African American and allowing other people to be black. So now we're going into a well-organized machine that's running, and we want to change the whole paradigm. And it's not an easy thing to do. So, and that's the same thing that happened in the 60s with the Black Power movement and things that was going on. You come in with a new consciousness to change up things in the marketplace where there's billions of dollars at play on the status quo being the same. So I'm with you 100%. I hear everything you're saying.
Well, I don't know about that.
Go ahead.
I don't know about that because when Donald Trump introduced MAGA, like he did that like we did ADOS. And now the entire world know what MAGA is in less than like 6 months. The entire world know what MAGA is. When Jesse Jackson introduced African American in 1989, we became African American in 1990. Like in 1 year, the entire country, because they put it on forms. So it's not really that difficult. See, people don't gotta accept it mentally. You don't gotta accept it. We did not accept African American, right? We never voted on that. We never came to a consensus. What they did was they just put it on forms and forced it down our throats.
That's the point I'm using. That's the point I'm making, Ron. Put it from this perspective. My pushback to that is those people that came with those thought processes had money behind it and jobs predicated on it. They had the system behind it. What I'm saying is we're bringing in something that our own people that's connected to the system is disagreeing with it. So it's a struggle.
Well, I have never, now I'm just saying from my anecdotal experiences. When I talk to people that's foundational, like who I would call foundation Black Americans, I never had one person say they're not, like after I explain it, I say, hey man, look, if they ask me or sometimes bring it to them. Like, hey man, like I got some 24-year-olds. So I'm not trying to convince 80-year-olds, 70-year-olds at all. I was never into that. Right.
I got you.
Right. So my coworkers, all young dude from Newark, young dude from, my city, 24, 20, 26. So I'm slowly talking to them like, yeah, man, trying to like, yeah, where your family from, without being so obvious. And then they let me know that they're from the United States. They got, U.S. chattel slavery lineage here. So now I'm like, all right, well, look. So, after another week or two, I'm just talking about things gradually. And I introduced it to him. I never had one person say, I'm not, my ancestry ain't foundational. I don't think there's one Black American that would deny. That's why we have a title here that we're going to get into in a second. I don't think there's one Black American that would deny that their ancestors were not foundational.
Well, I hear what you're saying. My pushback is a lot of them that's like that. And even in our households, right? Put it this way. We said something about 10 minutes ago where I think you said it was either ADOS or somebody trying to get the names of foundational Black Americans on when you're filling out applications and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you fill out applications. So now we'll have that separation. So now when young dudes and young guys and girls go to get jobs and stuff like that, you can start breaking that conditioning because people are used to calling themselves a certain thing. And a lot of people still believe that they still look into Africa. They still part of that church. They still part of the Democratic plantation. A lot of our people are still connected to a lot of things that we argue against. That's outside. It's everywhere, right? When I'm outside and I'm talking, you get some people that listen, but you get some people, they listen to respond because they still connected to their conditioning. So my whole thing is we got to get into politics. And one of the things that will be important is if we can get FBA put on those applications when people are filling things out and there has to be a separation. That's a start. That's a start because the way my position is, I'm with everything you saying. It's just it's just applying it to a lot of our stiff-necked, hard-headed people.
Yeah, that's okay. Because when I talk about that, I hear that pushback all the time. It took us 250 years to get out of slavery to get to when slavery was abolished. It took 100 years to get civil rights passed. So there's no rush. See, when it comes to foundational Black Americans, all of a sudden we're the only people on the earth when we're being an activist. When we have activism, we have a 24-second shot clock to get it done. The rest of the world got eternity, got to the Armageddon come to get their their things done. But for us, it's a 24. I just said this yesterday. For us, it's always a 24-second shot clock. All right, Black Americans, you ain't get it done? Okay, it's over. Blow it up. Let's start over. No. It might take 100 years. It might take 250 years. It might take 700 years. We ain't moving.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. But I think a lot of that stuff come from us being on a shot clock, come from a lot of our people because we're impatient, because a lot of our lifestyle is predicated on going outside of ourselves for our essentials and the things that we need, our jobs and everything else. So the system is against us when we trying to make those changes like that. And that's why sometimes it takes so long because of the self-doubt. Because you gotta, you can say the white man the devil, but then you gotta go punch in the clock tomorrow. I remember when I down at Miles number 12 back in the day, the brother was saying that. He said, he was saying, y'all ain't got no heart. Y'all call the white man the devil, then go to work for the white man tomorrow. You ain't ready to fight this way. I was laughing so hard. He was saying, y'all ain't ready to fight against this white man. But
yeah, I mean, well, that's fantasy anyway. If somebody think they're gonna take on this government, I mean, I just complete
that's the point he was making. That's
fantasy.
the point he was making. He said we got to get here and build within, despite what we got to get and just build ourselves up, and then go out there and do business with the world. So and to me, like I said, I'm with everything you saying. Like the way you explain it, because like I said, the way you explain how we should be using Black, to me, I needed to hear that because I've been used to using it the other way for so many years. And the way that you explain it is perfect. It's perfect. But it's just getting that out to the masses of our people. That's not
what, but it's already being done. So the irony is this: you have a lot of people out there with these YouTube channels that's defaming the FBA delineation movement, right?
Yeah.
But they're actually promoting us, right? Even though they're defaming, they're putting foundational Black Americans in their title, right? Yeah. So it's actually moving pretty fast. And then now we got Tucker Carlson, we got and Coulter, these people in their political settings, right, and they're actually parroting the acronym, and they're actually saying the words. So I know people in that party is like, what's that? So that it's actually kind of moving pretty fast, thanks to the hate groups.
Yeah, because they putting more attention. They know the talking points too. Him and James Fishback was using all the talking points, and then all of them was using Fat Roly Poly was using the talking points now. I think yes. I think the biggest thing is what we was just talking about now, though, and understanding and defining that Blackness terms for Black. For what's like we just said. What's funny is immigrants come and know it. We was the ones that didn't know it.
Yeah, and that's why you can even tell from my spirit, like I got that civil rights spirit, that Frederick Douglass spirit, where I'm just optimistic. Like I got that Dr. King spirit. Like I don't look at it like it's a large hill to climb. I look at it as our history accomplishments. Like anything we set ourselves to do, we did it. Whether it took 250 years, 100 years, it got done. So like I come from that stock. Like I think it can be done. It's getting done, and if it takes eternity, it's going to take eternity. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm stuck on that. I like because I got to work on that every day though. But I'm with it. Because like I said, well, shit, just 5 years ago we was cussing Dominicans out for saying I know Black. Daddy. We was cussing them out. But just to think about it,
yeah. But look what you said though. You said cussing out Dominican. You see, they already got their ethnonym.
There you go. But that's what I was about to say. Think about it. We trying to make them be something that they're not, where they can go back to being who they are. But we stuck on being that, which they nah. Like so, the thing is, why would I want you to be something that you're not and benefit for something that you don't even want to be? You come
right and that's the importance. And guess what? We finally realized the mistake. We realized, okay, for example, it took Irish people 60 years to become white. it took Jewish people 100 years to become white in this country, in America. And so it took, okay, I studied the history of immigration. Like, so I know that when they got here, everybody's trying to assimilate to be white, but America would not embrace them. So it even took them a long time to delineate from, where they came from and assimilate to whiteness, to become a generic white person, a generic honorary Anglo-Saxon European.
So basically, we planting the seeds.
We're planting the seeds, and our spaces, man. They're lit. They're growing. I see your views. They're growing. I see my views. They're growing. I see other people's views. They're growing. So, like, there is a reason why our title is in everybody's, video description, because the movement is here. Like the views, the attention is over here. So it's getting out there. And I'm very hopeful and optimistic, and I'm trying to get on to TikTok. So I need the family, Unbiased Ron, got and create a TikTok account and follow that name so I can go live there. I think I need like 1,000 subscribers, followers, whatever.
So what do you say to the people? What do you say to people when they say that Black Americans don't have a nationality? And I'm gonna pose the question this way to see what I want to get your perspective. When they say Black Americans don't have a nationality, or a culture, they say we don't have a nationality or culture, and other groups do. Your position on it is our Blackness is our nationality. So that's part of our experience.
No. So a nationality is your ability to have citizenship in this country and be American. So you could have an Italian American, Ethiopian American. So everybody with citizenship here, America is their default nationality. So we have a nationality. Our culture is tied to our experience here. So we have, that right there, I don't entertain. Every human on this earth, it's impossible not to have a culture. Like a group can try not to have a culture, not have a culture. So culture is just a given, alienable right. That's like you're just born with when you just accompany yourself with other people and do the same things. So that whole debate is ridiculous. It's something I don't even take seriously at all because hold on. Last thing is this. Because to say we ain't got a culture, they got to define what a culture is. Right now, I could Google right now what a culture is, and I guarantee we check every box. So that's why I say it's a hateful conversation.
Yes.
That's time wasting for me because we just can Google the definition. Everybody who I heard, Frank Zanu, all these guys, they all redefine what culture really means, and they don't mean that. So if we just stick with the standard definition of culture, you'll see we check every box.
Money Green, and Donnie James. I know that we're American. I'm just asking questions based off of conversations that I had with people in debates that I had with people online when they say certain things, because you never know who's watching. A lot of times you guys may be commenting in the comment section, but people be watching when we're talking. So I'm asking certain questions because I know that Ryan can break it down. I know that we're Americans, but I'm asking in arguments that I have with people, they give me these stupid, frivolous arguments. So I'm just bringing it to the table so Ryan can explain it. That's all. That's all it is. So some questions I'm just asking just to ask in the conversation.
Right. It's for the record, basically, because now you like how you played your videos to me. You could run this back and say and have them. You could play devil advocate for on my part for them. Okay, well, what if they say this and you play my take on it? Okay, what you got for that? Yeah, it's a learning.
Because they be watching from the bushes. A lot of them. They be in the bushes. They be in the bushes. They be behind the wall with binoculars. they got listening devices. They be doing everything. So trust me. And I saw you on Sinetta a couple like last month over there.
Yeah.
I was in Pittsburgh on the highway. And I turned to my phone. I said this nigga over there arguing with them.
Yeah. You know what? I gave it a shot. It's a waste of time. It is.
But the sad part is coming over there from them. Like a lot of them over there should know better because they're not stupid. They're not dumb. In my opinion, a lot of conversations we having now, we was having these conversations 15 years ago. They know all this. They just still want to hold on to the Pan-African thing and don't want to.
And of course, when you let out that video with Professor James Small,
Yeah.
Because remember at one point I was mad at him. I was calling him out, but when I heard that, I'm like, so this dude knew the whole time, like, cause he broke that down. He's saying what I'm saying. He said when they say Africa, they're not African. They're from this country. Like, he's basically saying I'm saying everything he said. Like he sounded like me when I watched that video.
Yes.
I'm like, wow, this guy, I sound like him.
But that's why I'm saying I told everybody before. I've been around like Claude Anderson, Dr. Claude Anderson is okay. Elder Smalls, Dr. Claude Anderson, what's the that just passed away from DC. Darn, he wrote the compensatory code.
Nearly Fuller Jr. Yeah.
Nelly Fuller Jr. and Francis Cress Wilson. They're Tariq Nasheed teachers. So when you hear Tariq Nasheed talk, he's saying everything that Elder Smalls taught him. He's saying everything that Elder Smalls just don't want to let go of the Pan-African thing.
Right.
But make no mistake about it, 60 years online, all that stuff that you hear, he was teaching this stuff early on to Tariq. But that's why
crazy.
I'm saying that with the stuff that you talking about when you breaking down blackness, I heard all this stuff explained already before.
Right, right. Right,
Yeah,
because I thought I was saying something groundbreaking, then I hear them say like, "Oh, okay, oops."
Yeah, and see the thing is, you come from somewhere. You had teachings too. So we not young. Like these teachings already been out there. A lot of times people just don't want to let go of the things that they're benefiting economically from. So they're willing to sacrifice everything just so they can fill their pockets up and not tell the truth. They know that they know that there's a difference. They know. Listen, you know how you know there's a difference. You know how you know there's a difference when you just make it real simple. If me and you was in Liberia right now and we got in a plane and flew all the way to Uganda, you a goddamn foreigner.
Yeah, 100%. And I just had this epiphany. I said, you know what? Maybe some of us calling everybody black was inspired by religious recruitment, because the Nation of Islam was looking for membership. The Hebrew Israelites looking for membership. They call everybody black. So I'm like, you know what? A lot of these organizations were just looking for more membership. So the Nation of Islam, sometimes they even call like Hispanics who are clearly Hispanic, like Oscar De La Hoya. They be calling them black. Like, you black, you black. And I always thought I always felt funny standing next to what Oscar De La Hoya do, and we're both saying we're black. So that talking point could have been for religious recruitment.
I think, but for me, I think our blackness, I think that term in America go back to that part, but I think there's many different things. I think in the way we were treated in this country, take the African out for a minute. Let's just deal with like us and then the brothers and sisters coming from the Caribbean. East Coast Corridor, New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore. We have influx of Haitians coming in from 1790 to 1804. A lot of them came up here to Philadelphia. They went into New York City. They went into these different places. And white men just seeing everybody as black as niggas. So I think that consciousness started to develop over time, especially for us. When you came over, look like us, you was just a nigga fall in line. This is why the history showed that Marcus Garvey can become who he became, because we seen him just as one of us. Where in his mind, he may still have been Jamaican, but we seen him as one of us, because when you got here, the white man was kicking everybody looked like us. He kicking everybody head in. So that consciousness began to permeate throughout these cities like that. And it's something that went on for a long time. And now it's starting to be broken up.
See, the only thing with that is that, first of all, by the fact that we're calling them black and they're not calling themselves black, that's that exonym thing again. That's an outsider naming somebody something.
That's what I was about to say. We the last ones getting the memo.
That they didn't say. Now watch this. And then the access that they have ain't for black people. For example, DACA, like they get these guys. When we think of immigration, a lot of us think of Hispanics only. No, like these guys, these Africans, these West Indians, they get the same benefits. They're entitled to the same benefits. Everything Hispanic is entitled to. A Hispanic immigrant.
So we're right. Earlier.
So we're calling somebody black that could tap into resources that nobody black can tap into.
Yes. Remember what I said, Ron? They want to be black. They want to extract from what was supposed to be for us, but they're not putting nothing back in the pot.
Yeah, but you even got white folks, but that's nothing to brag about. You even got the Rachel Dolores like saying they're black and stealing our resources. So that's not just exclusive to West Indians
I'm just saying
Africans
because they look like us, and they come in.
Yeah, they could pull it off better.
Yeah, they could pull it off better. That's what I'm saying. Like, just think about it. What you're talking about now, what you're teaching now. Let's use Farrakhan as the example, right? What you're breaking down and teaching now, could Farrakhan get as far as he's gotten and become who he was if we was identifying the way we are today?
Probably not.
That's the point I'm making. So what I'm saying is because we all was getting our heads kicked in together, we developed that consciousness of blackness in America. When you got to America and you walked with us, then we allowed you to be with us. But at some point, it was supposed to stop and say, okay, you are a brother, but we still got our identity. I think it just kept going on and on and on. And then you had leaders that called it out, but they got shut out by sellout leaders that was being funded to keep this shit going this way. So this is where this thought process comes from, because when you deal with the history like Schomburg, and you deal with these blacks that these other black groups that came over that helped before the civil rights movement, the movements we had, and then the civil rights movement and the Black Power movements, they were black and they were down, right? But they still got to go back to being who they were. We still was accepting them with our arms wide open. So with what you're teaching now, I think that we would have had a better grip on things. But the system was funneling money on things being anti what you're teaching.
So you asked a question. You said, could have Minister Louis Farrakhan got as far as has he gotten with what we're doing now? And probably not. Then I could say this: could more have been done if he was actually foundational?
Say that one more time. Say it one more time.
Yeah. So all the things he's done in America, right, in the Nation of Islam, the fact that he's not foundational, if he was foundational, could more things have done? Like, for example, if you compare what he's doing to foundational Elijah Muhammad, it's not even close.
Right. Well, I understood what you meant when you said it. Now watch this, because I teach this a lot.
Or even Malcolm X.
Now watch this. I'm here in Philadelphia, First Resurrection, right? I teach this a lot. There's a lot to the fact that they teach Malcolm X and Farrakhan, but they denigrate Elijah Muhammad, and then to the point where a lot of people don't even know who he is. But there is no Khalid Muhammad, there is no there is no Farrakhan, there is no Malcolm X if there's not an Elijah Muhammad. That's not by accident. So you take the FBA brother who built the whole thing and get him out the way, and just move him out the way. You teach the students, and you just teach everybody, the students that really didn't build anything. So yeah, that's done on purpose, though.
All right.
That's done on purpose. I always talk about that. I say, well, how you gonna tell me about Khalid, but and Farrakhan, but who gave him the system in place? Well, don't worry about him. He wasn't no good. How he wasn't no good? Why look at them? See what I'm saying?
and look, and actually, people should be glad that I'm keeping black there, because you got people who want to take black out totally. Like when you say Adolf, ain't no black there. When you say Solon, ain't no black there. So when you say descendants of freedmen, ain't no black there. So
I was one of them people until I heard you break it down.
Yeah, so I'm the only. I mean, so FBAs are the only people who's willing to keep black there. But every other advocacy organization on behalf of the lineage, none of them got black in their acronyms or names.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm with you. No, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. But that's a good question too. What you said. If Farrakhan was FBA, would he be able to get more done? Because the actual FBA brother that taught him was the one that got it done.
Right. Like yeah, because you seen the black Muslims everywhere, and cities were protected. You had cities protected another level, but you seen the bow tie guys everywhere. I mean, like the criticism Minister Louis Farrakhan get is that under his leadership, right now nobody sees the brothers anywhere.
Well, listen, this is my argument. I'm be real with you. Under his leader, I used to cuss the black church out a lot. I don't cuss the black church out no more. I'm gonna tell you why. The black church never, for the most part, based off of the teachings, man, you waiting for Jesus to come save you. And you go in there, you giving your money to they not really telling, the church wasn't telling you to do for stuff. That was the Nation of Islam telling you to do for stuff, and the white man the devil. The churches wasn't calling the white man the devil and telling you to do for stuff. They was telling you to pray, hold hands, and wait on God. He gonna fix it. But when you in Detroit, Chicago, Milwaukee, Philly, New York, DC, Baltimore, why the brothers don't own these gas stations and all these stores? They supposed to own all this stuff after Elijah Muhammad passed away, because they was the ones telling you the white man is the devil, ain't nothing coming from the sky and to do for stuff. They ain't got nothing in none of these black cities. Black Baltimore, black Philly, man, they ain't got nothing going on. They failed the black community. It was a big time based off of their doctrine. I mean, just saying.
Yeah.
Am I wrong though, Ron? When they telling us ain't nothing coming from the sky? Them and
Right.
Hebrew Israelite, both of them.
Yeah, that's true. They definitely preach. Go out there and get it yourself. Don't don't wait for your heaven to come. Don't wait for your heaven after life.
Your heaven is
Have
here
your heaven
now.
during your life.
Yeah, ain't nothing coming from the sky to save you. The white man, the devil, come out here and get it. And they will tell you ain't gotta be, and they will tell you ain't gotta be Muslim to get it. You need to be black. And the Hebrew Israelites used to tell us, you already an Israelite. That's your lineage. Get out here and get it. I don't see no Hebrew Israelite gas stations. I don't see none of that. I don't see no Hebrew Israelite supermarkets.
Now look, now yesterday my live talked about that, because when you define gentrification, by definition, is people who make more than you significantly, and people who are wealthier. They the only ones who can gentrify you. So the question I raised was that how is it possible that immigrants who make less than us can gentrify us? So that was yesterday live, and that was part of the original live, and I talked about that later. And I just made that a video by itself. I didn't upload it yet, but that's gonna be a video by itself. How are we being gentrified by people who don't have nothing comparable to us? As far as we're homeowners, we got jobs, we got credit. They come here with absolutely nothing, and a lot of them are like refugees on top of that, and illegals. And how are they able to gentrify like that? That's like impossible. A lower class can't gentrify a higher class, and that's what's happening. But it goes back to that. It goes back to, even though we're calling them black, they're getting immigration benefits. So banks are looking at them as, yeah, we rock with you. You're an immigrant. We don't care how dark you are, because it's never about darkness. It's about experience in this country. An immigrant, no matter how black he is not likely to sue a company for something racial, right? Something discriminatory, like a foundation. See, we had enough. We had it up to here, is our saying. So we don't want to hear one more thing. But a dark immigrant would tolerate more BS from an employer, because again, they're immigrants. They're trying to keep their citizenship status. They're trying to be employed, get housing. So they're kind of cooning. You dig? From default, team white. They're almost like team white supremacy default.
But go back to what we said in the very beginning of the conversation. They see the white man as a savior to them.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier.
Yeah, they got a problem with us. Just the mere fact that we still have the ability to stand with our chests out and be dignified. They know we built America. The white man know we built America. They hate us for that, and they can't build nothing where they come from. They got to go there and kiss the ring to get the things that they need. They hate you for it. That's just what it is, bro. I mean, I was watching last night. Well, I mean, when you was breaking this down, I was listening. I was in the bushes. listening.
Yeah, so we know that delineation is going to be they're going to benefit from it, and even reparations. I don't know why they're pessimistic and so like envious when they're going to benefit. Well, they would have definitely benefited more had they kept their mouth shut. Now that we're hearing this type of dissentment, it's like, all right, well, maybe we won't extend the olive branch a leaf when we get our stuff
We
together.
can't.
But delineation is how we better offer a relationship, right? You can't offer a relationship when we're fragmented. You offer a relationship when like that's like you. Like if I'm cool with you, but I'm not cool with Q,
Yeah.
and I'm not cool with somebody else that Q's cool with, that like I can't be confident going around y'all. Like I feel like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna feel a weird way, like,
Yeah.
damn. You know what I mean? So with us, same way. So how can another nation, another ethnic group really be cool with us when we're like fragmented ourselves, where we're not on code? So this whole delineation thing is getting us on code, and this is a better way to establish a relationship with us when we're on code, because now it's like it's unanimous. Like we all agree that this is the type of energy we're going to give you as a collective.
Yep. And I was telling the guy, I said, listen, we all agree on the core things of what we should do. We all might have different ways of applying it. I told a couple people the other day, I said, let me tell you something, man. When you sit in the room, whether you in the street doing street activity or you at your job, and y'all doing something, y'all all agree, but we may have disagreements in the way we're applying things. Sometimes it's good to just shut up and don't be out there going against your people in the public. Shut up.
Right.
It's okay to sit this one out. Hey, I disagree with the way Ron is doing it, but you agree with Ron though, right? Well, let Ron do what he do. He don't need you out there saying, well, we need to do it this way out in front of everybody. That's the things I was saying online. I said a lot of times, man, we all can be agreeing on this thing, but we got all these different ideas of how we should do it. You know what I mean? You know, if this person got the microphone, stop trying to take the microphone out of his hand. let him lay it down. Let him lay it down.
Yeah. You got a couple weirdos. You got a couple. Yeah. So what we need really is what I was calling for. We got some FBAs who are Pan-Africanists. So what we need them to do is represent Pan-Africans. Like we need them to take it from the African ass kisser. See, you could be a Pan-Africanist without kissing Africa's ass. So but the current Pan-African, they're just ass kissing Africans.
Yeah, they one way. They biased. They don't call. They only call. They like the black conservatives. Black, they only call out the black community.
Right. Yeah. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, they
like
black conservatives. That's all they are. You know how them black conservatives, boy, they can't wait to get some W cooch. You know what I mean? You know, on their arm or the Pink Panther on their arm, and they go around and talk bad about the black community. And I always say, well, how come you never show anything positive about the black community? You only talk about our underbelly. That's it.
Right. That's it.
With your W husband or W man and stuff like that. But that's what the Pan-Africans do, the same thing. Show me where the Pan-Africans ever show positivity in the black community. Always talk about Africa.
Or when they ever criticize Africa with the same energy they criticize FBAs. Like you don't see that. It's always they always make up what I seen was the pattern was this. They'll make up an excuse for bad behavior coming from the West Indies and Africa.
I've been saying it for years.
But the bad behavior that comes from us, we got to address that right now. You know, all of a sudden there's no trauma over here. All of a sudden it's just in us to be like that.
Yeah,
it's just hatred.
I'm more Pan-African than all of them because I love Africans. I love Black Americans. I love everybody. But I'll cuss their asses out in a heartbeat. You don't get to come in and talk trash about us and your country is in whole disarray. France still control your banks, right? Get out of here. You don't come. No, go worry about what you need to go over there and don't come speak on our politics. It'd be disrespectful for me to go over to your country and start talking about your politics or something I know nothing about. No, come over here and sit down like you got some goddamn sense. So for me, I've been saying this. People that watch, but really been watching me for years. People that watch George, I was calling Pan-Africanism out in 2016, saying that Pan-African need to be when I was still Pan-African. I said these niggas ain't practicing this. This need to be redone. That's when Sinetta and them start calling it all out back then. That started back then. We were saying, yo, these Africans ain't our friends. We've been saying this stuff. So I never stopped having a global view of people that look like us, but I ain't dumb. You're not just gonna come here and talk trash about us and we ain't supposed to say. And I used to always say, how come whenever they can say anything they want to say about us, but we can't say nothing back. As soon as we say something back, it wasn't even the Africans that was arguing with us. It was our own people. Man, them the Pan-Africans was destroying me for calling out Africa.
Damn.
Man,
Yeah. I'm telling you,
me.
they blame us, man. Don't you? Matter of fact, you not how many of them I had over here, family, that they minimize their role in the slave trade. Like they pretend the slave they pretend the slave trade is really the slave raid. No trade. White folks just came over there, kidnapped us 12 to 15 million, and brought us to Europe. Like if you leave it to them, like they would go with that narrative. And these are foundational Black Americans who are giving Africa a complete pass, like omitting revising history, saying Africa had nothing to do with the slave trade.
Well, I give you one. Even if you go back to Dante Cowell's argument and you listen to what he said in his argument, he said all y'all want to do is talk about what Black Americans accomplished and did, and you don't never talk about the Africans' accomplishments. And I said, whoa, I played that 15 times in my life. I said, don't be emotional. Take all the emotion out. Look at this as a blank canvas. I don't want y'all to show no emotion to what he's saying. I want you to sit there and just listen to him. Because they bank on you being upset, emotional, belligerent, and loud. We not moving like that no more. Oh, that's what you're saying? So, and I said, I want y'all to talk regular. Oh, so basically what you're saying is we're not supposed to showcase our history that's been stolen from us. And they made sure that people around the world don't know our inventions. So whenever they ask us what's Black American culture, the first thing they run to is dance and the clothes we wear. They don't know that we invented damn near everything that moved this country and moved and shaped the world.
And not only invented, but we are innovation. So there were things already invented, and we took them and made them better.
Yep. And the medicines and everything else.
Yeah, but even that is also innovative, right? So our culture is being innovators if they want to.
Yeah, because when you go back and analyze that, you should, when you get a chance, play what he said again and stop it moment by moment. Listen to what he said. And I tell people all the time, don't get upset at what he's saying. Take woosah, take 10 seconds, think. Don't get upset. Listen with your ears so that when you can hear him. Because when he talking, when he was going in like that, I said, oh, this guy, wow. But I'm gonna tell you something. This is something I always learn. It's not the fact that he said it. He said those things. It's the fact that he thought it was okay for him to say it before he even said it. So it's a thought process that's in his mind before he even manifests the words. He's already thinking this way. So now, and there's a lot of people that think like him. He had a problem with us showcasing our own history. Think about how problematic that is when you really unpack it.
People.
Go ahead.
Yeah, people like that are appealing to an audience. So it's usually either white supremacy or it's really altogether white supremacy. But it's either white supremacy or some type of tether audience, like when people talk like that. Because that's not a normal thing to do. It's like hate on your history to benefit another person's feelings. Like, so you're gonna minimize and downplay your rich, glorious history for somebody else's comfort, somebody else's feelings. Can they get offended when they hear how great you are? That's crazy.
Hey, he told us, y'all don't want to talk about how great Africa is, and I'm sure you saw it. How great Africa is.
We need him to talk about how great Africa is. Like, lead the way. Tell us how great Africa is, so we could bust out laughing. Show us the greatness of Africa.
Africa ain't done nothing. Those great things, like no, you got to go back to ancient times. They ain't done nothing.
That's all you can do. But look, what I do is I go a little further. Okay, so now, like I said, I study the history of immigration. If you look right now, this is my right here. This is one of them. A brief history too, right? But this wasn't it. This is it right here. Boom, right here. So I was actually going to read this today. Voluntary and forced migration. This is pretty much the history of immigration in a nutshell in this country. All right. So with knowing the immigration in this country, like, who came, where, what time period, and what did they do when they actually got here? What they actually do when they got here. So you got the Irish, you got the Chinese, you got the Brits, you got the Germans, right? You got the Japanese, you got the Mexicans that came over here. So when you study the history, you know exactly how everybody contributed and then what they did not do. So you don't want people to get credit for what they did not do. And then you can draw a comparison to what labor they did and what labor we did. And now you can see who's more foundational, because we never said that we're the only foundational people in America. What we're saying is that we did the most. Like we contribute to the foundation more than anybody else. Yep. And for the longest run, like, because we were here before America. These guys start getting here in 1800 and stuff, like 1900, stuff like that. But what I want to say is this: America, Great Britain had sent their convicts over here, right? Everybody know that they sent the convicts. The convicts pretty much ain't have a decision. It was like, die for your crime or go to America and live your best life. So it's like, hey, well, let's start over. So they came to America that way. Now, but ever since then, ever since 1776, America has been a brain gain country. That means we only accept the brightest minds. You said it earlier with the Nigerians. We only accept the brightest minds that come over. We don't accept the dumb people. We don't accept poor. Now, we'll take evacuees. That's the exception to the rule. The evacuees, the asylees, and the refugees. Those are exceptions to the rule. They come in small numbers, but the majority of immigrants come over here through hyperselectivity, which you said earlier. That's the Indians, the Chinese. The reason why they got these stereotypes being so smart, because they're filtered, right? When they fill out their visas and student things, we only take the top 10% of. So that means like the brightest minds are coming to America, leaving that country, and this is why their country be shitholes. So we're a brain gain country, and their countries are brain drain. So you talk about immigration with an I versus immigration. So when we accept them, that's called immigration I. When they leave their country, that's called immigration. So those countries are actually complaining about their immigration problem. They're calling those people sellouts because they're abandoning the country and leaving it to fall by the wayside. Now, what they're supposed to do is behave like Japanese people. Japanese people are the greatest example of brain circulation. They left their country. They came to European countries, America, Russia, wherever, Germany, they came everywhere else. They learned from them, right? They took that information back to Japan and made Japan a damn near superpower in 46 years. That's called brain circulation. You leave, you get the information, get the resources, get the money, you go back home and build your homeland up and become the first country to be the first non-European country, to defeat a European country. That was the Japan-Russo War. All right, so now, when it comes to Africa, Africa is the reason why there's a boogeyman white man to begin with. There was no boogeyman white man before Africa and what they did. Africa, their human trafficking, trade slave they did with Europeans, they are known to have the biggest brain drain problem or brain drain event ever in human history. They released 12 to 15 million people to another person's leisure. So they gave white people, Europe, 12 to 15 million people who were used used as free labor for hundreds of years. So this is the hella head start they gave white folks. Now, this is what happened. That's called releasing your dog or like growing a dog and releasing it on your neighbors, and the dog come back to eat you. So that white man that they built up, that became a superpower from these free labor people that left your country that you couldn't use like that, you had no use for them, and they do that now with their resources. Their resources, they just sell them all day long. They don't use anything that's of value. They sell it. They give it to their ops. So now they help Europe become a superpower in 120 years. They come back to Africa and cook them, destroy them, extract resources, they colonize them. This is all their own fault. This is all their own doing. So that they wouldn't be these folks in Africa right now carving it. There's no Berlin Conference without them selling 12 to 15 million people to Europe. So everything falls back on them. The chicken came home to roost. That's why I don't feel sorry for Africans when they complain about the white man. There ain't no white man without you. The whole world is being destroyed because of what you did, the trade you did, that you benefited from nothing. You got alcohol, crack, K2, perks, whatever you got from the white man. But the white man got some of the best labor force as mankind ever experienced before, ever seen before. 200-300 years of free labor to build up Europe. That's on Africa's watch. So I don't have a bond with Africans like that. The West Indians, they were part of this diaspora thing. So we have a shared history, right? We have something in common. That's why they come over here. It's like an instant bond with people of the diaspora. But the African bond to me seemed like more forced. It's not as natural as the Caribbean bond. But I know that there ain't no big white man. There's no slavery. There's none of that without Africans selling their soul to white people.
I think, and I could be wrong. I think our only really Caribbean bond, real Caribbean bond, is only Jamaicans. For real. Other groups, we cool with them, but they like kind of distance too. Like Africans is something like you said, something different, but we ain't really cool with people from like Belize and Panama and Costa Ricans, and we ain't really cool with Dominicans like that. We cool with Puerto Ricans and Jamaicans. Am I wrong?
Yeah, for the most part, and that's why, yeah, like most of our experience as Black Americans, definitely on the East Coast, Northeast, most of our experience is going to be with Jamaicans.
Yep, Jamaicans. That's who. And I stand on this. Like I said, this is just my opinion. The two most influential groups is Black Americans and Jamaicans. If you travel the world, if you go to Europe, you go to Africa, they listening to our music, our dance, and the Jamaicans copy us, but they copying all the other groups. And the reason why with the Jamaicans, because a lot of Jamaicans, like when I'm around my homie from the Ivory Coast, when they speak in Mandingo, or my homie from Zimbabwe, it's crazy because when they talk, sometimes they sound like Jamaicans and shit. Like the music, the way that they look, all them niggas look the same, sound the same. We got a different sound than all of them. Like Black Americans, we got a different sound than all of them, and a different look a lot of times. So, but you like, you know, a lot of their music, like their Afro beats and stuff like that, they stole that from Jamaicans, man.
Yeah. I got Jamaican friends. I got island friends, Guyanese friends I'm real tight with. So yeah, so I'm not speaking from a xenophobic or hatred, the divisive position. I'm just standing on like what I know is right. And it doesn't matter what anybody believe. Like delineation is needed, is what's being done. It's gonna generate respect from the West Indians towards us more than ever. Like you're gonna see a different relationship where we're all these you're lazy, all these fake stereotypes is going out the door.
Yeah.
It's going out the window.
Yeah. Because we forcing them. My daddy used to always tell me, man, so when I was young, you teach people how to treat you. You teach people how to treat you by the way you carry yourself. That's it. So we're teaching people we're reteaching people how to treat us now, because we ain't going for the old way of doing things no more. So
right,
you
gotta
ring our bell now. You can't just walk in the house no more.
Yeah, exactly.
Daddy's home.
Look, matter of fact, don't even ring the bell. Call me before you even come.
Yeah. Call me when you on your way, nigga. You can't walk in like they tell you now. Hey, my parents back together now, man. You can't just come over like, man, my pop in the crib.
Right. Yeah, I don't think you want to walk through that door with dad home.
Yeah, nah.
And then you gonna get the fist of fury.
Pop in the crib now, man. So yeah. I'm gonna meet y'all around the corner.
Yeah. That's all. Like with just demanding respect. That's all. Like, nothing really changes. We're just and again, it's not even for them. It's really just for the world and white supremacy. It's like, yo, we're not gonna allow y'all to keep lumping up everybody into what's exclusively for us. Well, exclusively designed for us. So it's not even just. But don't forget the whole minority thing. That wasn't Jamaicans. That wasn't Puerto Ricans. That's white supremacy. The whole minority thing, the colored thing. But we, you know, like we know that the real beef is white supremacy, and they're using to cover their tracks. They're using immigrants to do the bidding for them, like the same way how they use a coon to do the bidding for white supremacy. But Akun was some point turn on them. So now they say it's easier to deal with somebody who don't have no slavery ties, no experience, no trauma, no remembrance, no resentment. Let's just get somebody who's don't have any ties to white supremacy at all. Bring them over here and do our bidding. And that's what started happening. They started to use as pawns. Some of them know that, some don't know it, but it doesn't matter. We know it.
That was A. Phillips Randolph argument in his writings.
Yeah.
That was his main argument. He didn't hate them. He was saying like, yo, like basically what he was saying when you read the writings, he was telling the Jamaicans and the Haitians, yo, holla at your people, man. What's going on? You cool, but what's up with your man?
Yeah, and he didn't like the fact that they was like perpetual immigrants. He wanted them to go get nationalized. Hey, get your American, because he knew as immigrants they would just fight for immigration. He said, hey, go be an American, so now you can fight for civil rights. You can be in our fight now.
Yeah, because he was saying if you ain't doing that, you're not with us. Everything we fight for, you got to fight against, because your lifestyle is predicated on my dysfunction.
Yep.
Doing it that way. Yeah, you can't be with you got to be against me. Yeah, and you know, during that time, they're fighting to get a wage. The poorman porters, they fighting to get a wage. You come ahead working for way less than what they fighting for. You're my enemy.
Right. Yeah, they repelling a lot of things before for it. And that's another argument. You know, as far as that, that's another. As a matter of fact, I'll tackle that when I upload the immigrant gentrification video. But
I got a video coming where I'm going in on immigration and the immigrants, only the black immigrants though.
Okay.
And, you know, the immigration timeline.
Right. Okay, I got you. Yeah, that'd be interesting to watch. Yeah, let me get this video going. I know people came to watch
I'm going to bed.
The foundational argument with because I got a couple videos I'm gonna play where you got white T is saying we're not foundational. We got some African immigrants. We got some Caribbean immigrants, and I think even a Latino immigrant, like either saying we're not foundational or we contributed little to nothing towards the foundation of the country. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play the video where they're interacting. What I always do, I'm gonna get reaction because I researched a lot of what's going on. I'm gonna
jump off though. Do your thing.
Edify the people.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep.
I appreciate you, bro.
All right, man. All right.
Yes, sir. Peace. All right. So let's get back to this right here. This is what I came to see. Let's get it.
Foundational Black Americans.
That's a lie. That's a big.
Nothing to do with the building of the United States.
Daddy, look at this.
What do you mean by foundation? What do you mean by foundational Black American? What about the Red Indians, the Native Americans? What about those people?
Yeah, they had nothing to do with the building of the United States.
They have no building. What are you trying to say?
They had nothing to do. Red natives had nothing to do with the building of the United States. That's what I said.
Who built the United States then? Who built
Black people, foundational Black Americans.
That's a lie. That's a big lie.
Who built it then? Who built it?
Before slavery, America was already built.
No, it wasn't.
It was already built.
It wasn't. Who built it? By who?
By the whiteys. They came in there, they stole the land from the Native Americans. They unalived 4 million Native Americans. They took the land of them because America has always been built by stealing from other people.
What white people built something before black
people? The Europeans who came in there.
Where?
In the United States.
Where in the United States?
You are asking me, the history is there all over US.
You said it. I know the history. You said it. I know the history. You just said some bullshit. I want you to elaborate.
Yeah.
What year did they, where and what year did white people build something without black people?
So when the black people came to America, America was a desert or a forest. It was already built.
What year?
Well, I don't know the year. I'm not a historian.
Then why are you speaking on something you don't know about, sir?
Because you didn't build it. You did not build it. You cannot.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
If
it had nothing. Had nothing. Yes, we did. They didn't build nothing on their own. The white supremacists failed every time they tried to build something over here.
Yes,
They
of
didn't
course.
build nothing on there.
You can
They
maybe
didn't
you
build
built
nothing,
it.
sir.
Maybe you built it together with them, not that you built.
Okay,
the
now you
country.
changing it up. Now you changing it up. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
we
because
built
you are
this
saying
thing,
you are the
sir.
only one who built it.
We built it, sir. The white supremacists didn't build it by themselves. They couldn't. They failed when they tried. So yeah, you just saying stuff just to be saying it. That's called being a lying tether, sir.
But you are a businessman, man. I like your style, man.
That's
You are
you
a
projecting,
businessman.
sir.
Keep
Don't
making the
don't don't
money.
give me no backhanded compliment. You trying to project your scams onto me,
I
sir.
heard you was a pimp before. I heard you was a pimp. Where are you?
Yeah, well, your mother. Yeah, your mother. I pimped that wig off of her. I sure did. I pimped that wig off of her.
Have you seen your face? You don't look like a real human being.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
look
yeah.
like a
Have you seen your
plastic
mama's
surgery.
face?
Plastic
Have you
surgery
seen your
face.
mama's face? Have you seen your mama's face after this pimping got on her?
Yeah, you can go and
Huh?
pimp my mama's face in the grave.
I did. I pimped the
grave.
must off
In the
that ass.
grave. She's in the
pimped the
grave.
must. Yeah, I know. I pimped her unalive. She's hoeing in hell right now.
With
All right.
With your plastic surgery face.
No. It's called just being good looking and not being raised
You
off
are not
bushmeat.
good looking. You are not good looking.
I am,
man.
sir. I wasn't raised off bushmeat, so my face ain't melting like yours.
Yes,
sir.
people
That's,
who
that's why, sir. That's why,
who
sir.
eat
That's why,
bushmeat.
sir. That's why you have a 54-year life expectancy in your homeland. You're unhealthy. That's why you got to
That is
flee.
not true. Why are you people
No,
so
that is
fat?
true.
Why are you people?
Okay, so you see what happens? The dude got cooked when he said we were not. See, he argued we were not foundational, and once Tariq Nasheed cooked him and challenged him, now all of a sudden he went to ad hominems. And what a Pan-African would do, what a tether would do, is only remember this part of the conversation when they're both roasting each other. Now a tether would clip this, or a Pan-African would clip this part, and then say, "Look, all Tariq Nasheed does is insult. No. Stop. He's teaching his show. They called in. He's explaining how we're foundational. The African tether objected, got cooked. Now it's a roasting fest. You feel me? So he learned something. We are foundational, and we're gonna cover that. We're gonna cover more of that. Okay. And I'm gonna chip in when I can chip in. But let's go with what the hell is a foundational white American? Like, they got to explain that, right? We know why we call ourselves foundational, and I ain't even saying they're not. I just want to know, how do they define and what do they mean when they say they're foundational and white American? Let Jeff, because it really comes back to where they from. I told you, like, we know who was here first when it comes to white people, right? And we know who assimilated. We know who came later and who assimilated and become white now, but they were not white when they got here, okay? So if you were not white when you got here, you are not foundational, buddy. So what does Jeff have to say?
What's up, Jeff? Come on, Jeff. I see you raising your hand. Hop on, Jeff.
How you been, Tariq? It's been a long time.
Okay, I don't quite remember. We talked before, Jeff?
Yeah, you got me on your YouTube channel, and I didn't give you permission, but it's all right.
Yeah, because I don't need permission because this is a public
Okay.
forum. But go ahead.
My question to you is: you keep saying you built the country from scratch.
Right.
When was the country done being built?
What
year?
The basic foundation of the United States was built by the mid-1800s. The basic foundation of it was built by the mid-1800s.
And you think you were the only people working?
We were the
only
only
slave.
Sir, we were the foundation. We were the people who dug the ditches, built the bridges, built the initial homes.
Multiple people did that.
Who were the other people?
You weren't even the majority of the labor force at the beginning of the country. It was
who were
the indentured servants? You have the Irish on the railroads, the Chinese on the railroads. It took a lot more than just slavery.
If you don't stop, the Irish on the railroads, my ass.
Baltimore and Ohio,
the railroad
the first
companies,
common carrier
if you don't stop babbling over me with your lies, the railroad companies had enslaved foundational Black Americans by the thousands, dude, if you don't stop it. The documents and the records are there. There was a reason why these railroad companies owned foundational Black Americans who were building these railroads all up and down the East Coast. And miss me with the Chinese people built them because they came in later to expand the railroad system to the West. So let's stop the lies, okay? Go ahead. You're not going to just lie and babble. We're going to slow that right
Here's the
down.
thing. There's never a time in American history when slaves were the only people working. I hope you realize that.
Who else? Who else?
Let's talk about the Polish craftsmen, the Dutch craftsmen that the Virginia Company imported. See, you don't even know history.
I do know history.
Slaves were never the only people working. Matter of fact, they were a minority.
That's
they were
a
a
damn
minority of the
lie.
labor force.
That's a lie. That is a damn lie.
You never passed.
There is a reason why the banking industry, the modern banking industry, and the modern insurance industry, and the modern medical industry was born out of the enslavement of foundational Black Americans, sir. It wasn't a minority situation. You didn't have all of those grand. You didn't have all of those grand institutions being built out of a minority group, sir. What are you talking about?
Slaves never passed 20% of the population.
Stop it, sir. In places
this country
like,
was 80% white.
And stop those lies, sir. In places like South Carolina, Black people were the majority.
Yeah,
if you don't stop
in the
it.
South, in 2 states in the South.
Stop it, sir. There were Black people who were enslaved by the millions in this country. We were not a minority. We were not a minority like that. They had to bring in white immigrants to throw our numbers off because there were so many of us, sir. What are you talking about?
Well, they were here before you, already exporting tobacco.
Who was
white
here before
people?
Us?
The English already exporting tobacco before any slave came in the colony.
Stop it. Stop it, sir.
When did slaves come in the first colony?
There were Black people coming
now
with the Europeans.
Black people.
Yes, because there were Black people came with the Europeans starting in the 1500s.
Yeah,
well, in 1492. Well, there were Black people
I know
with
about
Columbus.
the Florida, right? Yeah.
No, there were Black people who came with Columbus. There were Black people who
here's the thing.
Columbus where this place was. So wait, no, stop it. There were Black people here in the 1500s with the Spanish. So what are you talking about?
Yeah, in the southern region. But here's the thing, Tariq. Multiple people built this country, and for you to just say slaves built it, white people, the Chinese, different European immigrants.
You're babbling. From where? What white people? From where? Because
let's talk about England.
They failed. The English
Italian.
failed. Okay, we're going to stop. The English failed multiple times before Black people came in the picture. In Roanoke, they failed when they tried to do it themselves. They failed in the Virginia colony when they tried to do it themselves. They starved and damn near ate each other to death. They ate each other, dude. Don't stop with the bullshit history.
Facts.
Well,
we know history here.
They were already exporting. They were already exporting tobacco before any slaves came.
No, they were over here failing and
Go
starving.
look up the first successful cultivation. It's by a white man.
There was
John
no success.
Rolfe.
There was no. What year are you talking?
You're talking around 1612. They started exporting around
damn lie.
1613. You can go on Google.
They were not successful. That was the starving time. 1612 was the starving time over there.
The starving time was 1609 to 1610.
So that was all of that was the starving time. You thought they came out of the starving time and they started.
Well, here's the reality. A slave only does.
A
slave only does what his master says.
Right, so
you didn't
now,
organize the society. You didn't handle the business side.
Okay, so when they get cooked, even Tethers argue that position. When they lose this conversation, when they feel like they're getting beat up on, getting skunked by an FBA, they'll deflect to, well, you were not the architectors, you were not the beneficiaries of the labor. Hey, see? Okay, but you already lost the debate. We never said we were the architectures of slavery. Why would we want to be architectures of chattel slavery? Like, that's only a demonic soul would want to be that. And we, of course, we were not the beneficiaries. We were chained. It's called chattel slavery. But this is where they normally run to when they get beat up on who contributed more to the foundation of building America.
You didn't organize this country.
They used our talent, and we had the talent.
They
and
used
the
multiple
wherewithal.
people's talent.
No, they did
multiple
not. No,
people.
they didn't. No, they didn't. No,
A
they
lot
didn't.
of
Because there was no multiple people.
listen.
There was no multiple people.
Yes, there
What
was.
multiple people? No, there wasn't. You can't say
First
it
of
it
all,
was the
a
English.
lot of infrastructure wasn't even built in the time of slavery.
Stop. You're not going to babble. What multiple people were here in the 1600s besides the English, the black people, and the red natives? Who else?
The English, the Polish,
the Polish
the
didn't
Irish.
come over. They weren't over here yet. Stop.
Yeah, the Virginia company sent skilled craftsmen,
The
Dutchmen
Polish were
and
not over
Polishmen.
here yet.
Well, go look it up right now.
The Polish were
So you don't
not
know
over
what you're
here
talking
yet.
about. Multiple people built this country, not just
No, they
slaves.
did not. No, they did not. No, they didn't.
And a
It was
lot of
foundational Black
infrastructure wasn't even built during slavery.
Stop it. It was foundational Black Americans. Y'all weren't building shit. You weren't building shit in Europe. Europe was a hellhole. So what are you talking about? You weren't building nothing. What were you building in Europe? Hello? Hop on.
And then it comes back down to his family. When they say who are the architecture, hold on. Okay, then you just undermine your own part. Okay, they just undermine their own point, family. I just thought about it. If you're trying to minimize what we did in building the foundation, majority of the foundation in this country, because we were not the architecture, but you just undermined the Europeans' contribution to the foundation of America, because they were not the architectures. They came as indentured servants and they were mistreated, abused, everything like that. And they didn't come because they were friends with the architects, right? You know, you talk about the potato famine. Again, those early Brits who was like, hey, go to America or die. These guys didn't come over here with a happy smile. Like, they wanted to stay in family. Those British wanted to stay in Britain. They didn't want to leave Britain. They want to start all over. They were not happy. So they undermined their own point to try to minimize what we did. You're not the architects. Well, neither was those northern, southern, western, eastern Europeans that came over here that you give credit for. Undermine your own position.
Turn your microphone on. Turn your microphone on. Jeff?
Yeah, you muted me.
Go ahead.
All right, you said we didn't build anything in Europe. Why don't you go look up the countries with the highest living standards? They're all European countries and a couple of Asian.
We're talking about
so what are you talking about?
Stop. No, we're talking about
we
then.
built the most developed countries in the world.
No, don't you move the timeline up. I'm talking about in the 1600s, Europe was a hellhole. Y'all weren't building nothing over there. So what are you talking about?
England had the biggest navy. See,
man,
Tariq,
just
listen to me 1 second, all right?
Stop it. You stop it, because you're just babbling right now.
A lot of infrastructure wasn't even built during slavery. The skyscrapers were built after slavery. The highways were built after slavery. So you can't make a claim that slaves built everything, because it's not true.
We did. We built the foundation of this country, sir. We built the foundation of this country. Yes,
you didn't establish this country. That was white men.
We built the foundation of this country, sir, from top to bottom.
You've been here since the beginning?
The white man held the whip. The white supremacists held the whip.
The average white man wasn't a slave master. So what are you talking about?
But the country was dominated by slavery, and it was sanctioned by the government and the military, sir. So everybody was complicit. Everybody in the dominant society was complicit in this.
Well, there was slavery on every continent. So why isn't everywhere rich? Why isn't every country rich?
We're talking about this country because every country didn't have foundational Black Americans, and we are the secret sauce of this country.
So
that's why
we are the secret
sauce of this country, and you know it.
So why couldn't you build Liberia when we gave you Liberia?
Because Liberia was a finesse. It was a trick bag. That was something controlled and dominated.
Okay, see, now this when you get white supremacists, when they speak outside of America, they're normally wrong, especially on like Africa or the Caribbean. Dude, Liberia. Okay, now y'all know how we do Liberia, bro. Who gave us Liberia, and who's the they? Let's start with that, sir. Why? Who gave us Liberia, and who's the us? Yeah, this guy Jeff, man, I would love to find him on TikTok or something. Invite him over here. I will flame this dude, man.
Dominated by the white
It's always
supremacists.
an excuse.
It's always the white supremacists. It's always the white supremacists, sir.
When people come to this country, they don't come for you, Tariq.
We were not from
They don't
Liberia.
come for your people.
Liberia
They come to work for companies and business.
You're not going to babble over me. Liberia was not our homeland. So you're going to bring up Liberia. So you're just throwing the kitchen sink at the wall and trying to see what sticks. You're just throwing everything on the wall. You're throwing all of these white supremacist talking points. The reality is, you, as a suspected white supremacist, you have to thank foundational Black Americans for making a lane for you. Because if
I don't have to thank you for anything.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because you come from an immigrant class.
I don't work for you. Your people haven't provided me anything.
Yes, we have. If it weren't for us, you would still be somewhere. Yes, sir.
You don't do it.
If it weren't for us, you would be somewhere in Ireland eating a potato, pulling a leech out your ass. If it weren't for foundational.
So this is for Tethers, right? That say that, oh, we only talk about the African Caribbean immigrants who benefited from our civil rights struggles and victories. No, Tariq is explaining the Eastern, Western, Northern, Southern Europeans who also benefited from our civil rights struggle. He's saying it right now. So I hope y'all documenting this. He's straightening out a potential, I don't know where he's from, but if his ancestry comes from one of those recent immigrant groups, then yes, they get to thank us for coming to America more easily and without the quota. The quota system was thrown away after 1964. So they owe some respect too. They got to put some respect to our name. So now, when it comes to who was in this country during the foundation, obviously we were not the majority, right? We were, our numbers like well known, 384,000, 385,000. I think we were like 13% of the population. But Tariq is right. We were 33% in states like South Carolina and Mississippi. That was a big deal. And some states we were over 50%, right? So, that's here and there, or not even there. The West, right? So we talk about the West. We talk about Chinese and Irish labor, largely built the Transcontinental Railroad West. The South, us, Foundation Black Americans, our enslaved Black labor was heavily used to build the rail infrastructure in the Southern states prior to the Civil War. So Tariq is correct that the value of our slave labor was disproportionate to our population by size, okay? By 1860, the economic value of enslaved people exceeded the value of all U.S. railroads and factories combined. One more time. By 1860, the economic value of enslaved people exceeded the value of all U.S. railroads and factories combined. That's why we're foundational. So whatever the Irish contributed to, railroads and Chinese, kudos to y'all, but our slave labor exceeded the value of all U.S. railroads and factories combined. Okay, so Jeff said the English were exporting tobacco. He's talking about 1612 before we arrived, 1619, he claims, but we were there. Some of us were here 1526, but I get it. He's saying the 385,000. Okay. Whatever. But Tariq was correct that the Jamestown colony nearly collapsed during the starving time, which was 1609, 1610, which is Jeff's argument. Like that's his timeline. Okay, so yeah. Jeff, tobacco, the John Rolfe began successfully cultivating tobacco around 1612, and the first recorded enslaved Africans in large masses was 1619. Okay, but while tobacco farming started before 1619, Jeff, using white indentured servitude, right? The industry did not become the global economic juggernaut that built the Southern economy until the shift to mass chattel slavery later in the 17th century. So Jeff is arguing the first. So Tariq is arguing who were more productive. So family, we got to make sure we're not talking apples and oranges with these white teas. We got to make sure we're very clear. We're not arguing first. We're arguing who produced more when they handled tobacco. All right. Jeff talks about the Polish craftsman, right? He said the Virginia company imported Polish and Dutch craftsmen to build, right? Okay. So the Virginian company did recruit skilled Polish artisans, glass makers, pitch tar makers, right? Because we're talking about the early foundation of the country. So we got to just, be real. All right. So those people arrived in Jamestown in 1608, right? Before documented 1619. However, their numbers were minuscule compared to the eventual millions of our enslaved ancestors who provided the labor for the agrarian economy. So again, Jeff is arguing the first. Tariq is arguing who was more productive. Who did the country rely on to be a juggernaut, to be a superpower, to be a super economy? Did they rely on the Polish, the Dutch labor, or the Irish, or was it our enslaved ancestors? Okay, so I just want to point that out. Jeff is arguing a bad faith argument. Like, he know damn well Tariq is talking about building the foundation. Whose labor helped build the foundation? And Jeff is arguing first, not more impactful, more great, more production. So I just want to highlight that for you. All right. So don't get caught up on the first. He was right. They were here earlier, but they didn't, the work wasn't significant. All right.
The Black Americans, stop it. Okay. Let's not play games, Jeff. If it weren't for
Ireland has one of the highest GDPs per capita right now.
Ireland didn't get their shit together until the 90s.
It doesn't matter. They got it together. So when are you going to get it together?
Ireland didn't get
All right, so I'm going to skip past some of this because you see Jeff is he took the L on the foundational part, and now he's like just all over the place now. So let me see where this is going.
Shit together until the 90s. Y'all were starving until
see, so Tariq is pointing out, you're talking about some earlier time. You're not talking about the foundational period. Don't forget, Tariq argument is stamped in the era. He's talking about the foundational period.
90s. So stop it. Miss me with that. Jeff, you need to thank Foundational Black Americans for giving you a lane to come over here and eat. Okay.
Why would I thank you? You didn't organize the society. You were just you just listened to the master.
My people.
You did what the master said.
But Jeff, so did those Polish, Irish, everybody who you just named. Okay, the architects didn't work.
You didn't organize this country.
My people did it. My people built it from scratch. Okay?
No, your people contributed just like everyone else did.
Just because the white supremacists colonized all of our greatness, that doesn't mean we're still not great. Okay, y'all just colonized.
Everyone has greatness in them.
But the white.
But you're not the only one that built this country, and you need to recognize that.
You didn't build.
Well, we have photos of us building things.
No,
why do we have photos of us building skyscrapers?
You have photos of suspected white supremacists.
Yeah, I was meaning to mention some super chats. My fault. Damn. But I was engaging in a conversation with George Macon, and when we start talking about black, y'all know I'm like heavily passionate about that subject. So I seen the super chat. I paused it on a playback, and but I was so engaged in the conversation, totally forgot. So my bad for those who sent super chats. My fault. But I think I'm gonna get to another Jeff.
Premises getting off a boat on Ellis Island, eating off us. That's what you have pictures of, like your family. Y'all brought your broke asses to Ellis Island, got off a boat, and y'all started eating off the labor and the work of Foundational Black Americans. That's what we have pictures of, sir. Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
We have pictures, we have photos, we have videos of us building things, but we never built nothing in this country, right?
You got it. Everything was built by foundational Black Americans.
Everything wasn't built by
Yes, it was.
foundational Black
Yes, it
Americans.
was.
Multiple people contributed.
You didn't do it.
And for you to say
Jeff, Tariq is just gaslighting him, but it is hurting him. Like you see, Jeff's voice is crackling, right? That's hurting him, and that's why Tariq is just egging him on with that one. But sure, like I said, Chinese, Mexicans, Europeans at some point contributed, and we're going to talk about those contributions a little more.
What part of
it's
Ireland,
such a lie.
Jeff, what part of Ireland is your people from?
I'm not even Irish.
What are you, Jeff?
Don't worry about it. I'm foundational white.
Which is further.
Okay, fact. Hey, family, that's a fact. The fact that he didn't name an Anglo country, we know that he's ashamed of his homeland. He know that he fled somewhere. Okay, the fact that he didn't name an Anglo country, we know that he's ashamed of his country. And he knows that his people that's under whiteness now most likely didn't contribute nowhere near as much as other whites in this country towards the foundation. The simple fact that he's that ashamed to name his country. You see that the pattern is almost like asking somebody from the Caribbean or Africa who'll be feeling the same way. They'd be ashamed to list their country because they have, what's that word, family? They have the ethnic inferiority complex where they felt like their ethnic group didn't contribute as much as another one. So they feel a certain way when they have the conversation about being productive, being an inventor, being an innovator. They feel a certain guilt where they become belligerent. They lose their mind. They rather argue and give hate rather than give flowers. Ethnic inferiority complex. I think that's what he called it.
You're too ashamed to even name what crap hole in Europe your family came from, sir. That further proves my point. You come from such an ancient lineage, you're too ashamed to even name it. I'm not. I am a foundational Black American. My lineage goes back to the swamps of North Carolina, and
Let me pause that real fast. Hey, thank you for the Cash App, Robert. He says $20 Cash App. Thank you very much, brother. I'm definitely going to at some point. It depends. So I had King Swarthy calling earlier. My fault, family. But what I don't want to do is have too many people on the line, because you know what happened. We had Dr. Ruxpin on, that it was all over the place. It got really, chaotic and unprofessional, where people didn't learn anything because we're talking over each other. So I was going to wait and then have you on. And then SWLE 44 called in. And again, same thing. I seen you there. I seen both of y'all. But I didn't want to invite you on while George Macon was talking, because again, I didn't want to talk to two. I didn't want the conversation to spin three different ways and have the chat just confused on what's going on. I like to keep our panel and our content simple and easy to understand. It's like not so chaotic. So that's why I seen you guys there. At some point, you guys can call in. Thanks to Roberts for this and other people that contribute to Cash App. I'm gonna do my normal walk. If it ain't too damn cold, it's about like a little less than a mile walk. I go get coffee and talk to the family, and that's the best time to call in. All right, when I switch to live to my phone and take my walk. All right. So anyway, let's click a little more on Jeff. There's two Jeffs, by the way.
Proud of my people surviving the traumatic experiences they've survived. Me and my people, we have resilience that is unmatched. I am not ashamed. I'm very proud of my people. Your musty ass.
And you contributed to building this country.
You're ashamed of your failed European ancestry because y'all had to flee that crap hole over there, eating sauerkraut and boogers, and get on a boat and come over here and eat off us, and you're too ashamed to even acknowledge the hellhole you came from, which proves my point, Jeff. Go ahead. Last word.
Yeah, so Taya Carter. So Britain was trying to get rid of their worst. right? Because England, like that's where the brain gain idea from America started from, because they were British subjects. Yeah. So America, unfortunately, was a colony. Well, it wasn't America at that time, but you know what I'm saying. It was a colony of Britain, so they just had to do as they were told. They had to take in the convicts, the poor, but they never liked it, and that's why it ultimately led to a revolutionary war. They never liked to take in the worst of Britain because Britain was not giving them their best. So instead, America was trying to go after the other country that Britain was. So Britain was not rocking with Ireland though, Tyre, because that potato famine, those Irish people tried to go to Britain, and Britain said hell no. So they came to America. So uh, yeah, Britain was helping everybody come here because they didn't want them to come to their country. And I could read that. I could read that to you. Britain immigration laws, man, they didn't naturalize nobody. They didn't naturalize nobody like America did, man. They had your ass come over there as contractors. You had to get the hell out. Yeah, you had a little bit of rights. Like think about a contractor that come to your company. They get a temporary badge. They could use the bathroom, maybe even have access to the break room. But they can't go to certain doors and certain rights or certain policies that you guys got. That ain't theirs. You dig? Like they have limitations what they can do. They have limited access to what they can do at that company. And that's how Great Britain treated, the people who they did. That's how they treated people who came to the country to like service them as contractors. You got to go now.
Multiple people contributed to
Okay,
building
you
this
said the
country.
same thing, and multiple people didn't do anything but flee. Multiple
If
people
you built
fled.
this country, build your
Multiple
community up.
people fled just like your ass. Y'all fled and came over here. You didn't build anything. So you're repeating the same lie. Don't make it true, Jeff. So since you've run out of material, I bid you farewell. Let me get some more people here. You didn't build nothing. You built a boat to get your ass out of that flea bag you were living in over there in Europe, sir. That's what you built. To get the hell on and come eat off us. All right, let me see who we got in here.
All right, so let me now go to the other Jeff. So there's two Jeffs. So when the other Jeff called, Tariq Nasheed thought that was the same Jeff, but he realized it was a different Jeff. Okay, hold on. And what's the chance of that, right? What's the chance of a whole nother Jeff calls with the same argument? Arguing about who's foundational, who's not, and hilarious. All right, so
it's not often you meet a 21-year-old with his own.
Let's see the other Jeff. He calls himself an FWA, a foundational white American.
Hello?
Yes, Tariq.
What's up? Okay, this is another Jeff. What's up, Jeff?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say I'm a big fan of your content. I watched your hoodoo video. I thought there were some very good points about connecting to your ancestors and Lake Lanier and all that stuff.
Yes.
Obviously, you can tell I'm a white guy based on my voice. And I would like to make a small little point where you say that like media needs to differentiate between, as you call it, tethers from the Caribbean or Africa and FBAs, which I completely agree with. I would also say that I think you should do a little.
So actually, I'm thinking about before I commit to this right here. I think I just do a continuation because I see that Tariq is live right now, and I don't want to distract what he got going on, so I'm gonna end the live right now. Cause I feel weird playing his content while he got his content playing. You feel me? So I'm gonna end this live right now, and check him out. And depends how long he's live, I might come back on. If not, I'll pick up with the second Jeff tomorrow, right? Because I want to be respectful. Because I am using his content, and I feel weird using his content while he's live himself. So let me end this live. We'll do a part two, either maybe. Wait, he'll be live maybe 2 hours. I'll come back 1 o'clock, right? We'll get it shaken, or I will or in the early morning. But I rather do it 1 o'clock in the early morning. All right, family. Sorry for the abrupt ending, but I just seen he was live, so we'll tap in again at 1 a.m. when he ends his live. We'll do the continuation. All right. Love you guys. Thank you for the cash apps. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for liking the button. Thanks for pulling up. And if you're up at 1 a.m., tap back in.